Hey everyone, welcome to Daredevil Podcast episode 113. We got the crew back together, of course, finally. We're going to be talking tonight about our thoughts and perspective on the first three episodes for Daredevil Born Again. We won't get into too much spoiler talk because we want you guys, the audience, to be able to watch this and maybe come back and, you know, uh, have it in the background as some commentary. But we'll also be talking about things we've been catching up on playing, watching, what we're looking forward to, the normal spew. But everyone, thanks for coming. Dad, Colin, David, thank you guys for we can finally get something going.
Absolutely.
So,
Good
how
to be
y'all
back,
been?
Howard. Good to be back.
How y'all doing?
Good.
All right, I suppose.
As you suppose, David. I mean,
Yeah,
your
all right, I
your
suppose.
wall is like the so like we have like new scenery here. We got Dad in his bedroom or with weird, headboard back there.
Moving
And
on.
then we got
Hey,
Colin's
David.
look.
always got his cube.
Yeah, he's always got his cube.
Hey, I've got new artwork. It's coming.
And then David's just with nothing in the background.
He's got a drawn pillow on a wall. That's what he's got.
Yeah, what
Well, I
happened to
mean,
all your stuff behind you?
He's
Oh,
got a crop
Oh,
screen.
so wow, he's
he's
upgrading.
Bravo.
it's
He's
all
upgrading.
back there.
He's upgrading.
Bravo.
He's upgrading.
Well, so the room that I'm in is our like spare room that gets semi converted into my office. It's also the domain of all my nerd crap. And like two Christmases ago, the kids wanted to get, or some friends of ours had a little projector, and so we bought one. And so this is the projector screen
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And so,
Ah.
yeah, I'm just using that to cover up all of my zombicide stuff.
That's where
Cool.
you do all your shadow puppeting, huh?
Yes, absolutely. I'm getting better at it every day. We're gonna get there.
Well, I mean,
I've got the dog down. I've got the rabbit down, right?
I
He
was
is
about
I
to
got
very,
say you have a
very
pretty
bulbous.
awesome rabbit.
yeah.
well, yeah, actually, what it is David's getting ready to start streaming now. So he's got that background, so he
Yeah.
can instead of a green
Yeah.
screen, it's the gray screen.
Yeah.
It's about right. Yeah, for all the non-members that I would be having, right? And then you just slowly start turning it green as people become members, right? So you
Right,
can
right.
see how much
Oh,
is gray and how much isn't.
I mean,
you're back. You're almost there to your Kumite hamster fighting.
you
That's
guys don't
like guys, that's the special Sunday episode that, is behind the
Yeah.
we don't talk about that.
we don't
No,
talk
that's
about
the
the hamsters.
yeah. Never talk about the hamsters.
The Jean Claude hamster that can do
Wasn't it
spit.
so wasn't it Hugh Grant, right? Was the one that everybody joked about the
Purple.
hamster deal? Was he the
Oh,
one or am I
it was
thinking
a,
of somebody
No,
else?
yeah. It
Richard
was a,
Gere.
Richard
That
Oh,
was
Gere.
Gere, there we
or
go.
was it a
Look,
Okay.
troll?
don't steal
Okay.
his thunder.
All right, I'm sorry. I don't want to take that from him. That's why I was making sure that I didn't want to dive headfirst into that. I want to make sure I got the right guy.
Yeah.
Shifting gears.
I mean,
Considering you're like what he between him and what's his name from Doctor Who, the 12th Doctor, isn't it? Peter Capaldi. Both of them. One of them got the Fountain of Youth, the other one didn't. The other one got really, really old. As far as like Lair of the White Worm.
man,
Oh,
I
you're
haven't.
right.
Yeah.
Both of them were in Lair of the White Worm. I
Yeah,
forgot that. Hugh
yeah.
Grant and
They both look the same age. I'm guessing one was a little bit older than the other, so
Apparently, hamsters do wonders. Who would have thought?
Earthquake, Earthquake. Oh, I'm laughing.
man.
The other white meat.
There you go. Oh,
Hey,
oh, oh.
well, okay, so I shared a video with Dad about what was it? A alternate perspective of how they could have survived in the mall from
Oh,
Zack
you did bring
Snyder's
that up.
Dawn of the Dead. And it's just like they're like, oh yeah, they made bird traps and they were catching rodents and
They were catching. It was rodents and bird traps, so they could
yeah.
have food. Which is, you're going to want to do that. But
Mhm.
and the idea of using capturing rainwater and ice helps you with those supplies. But that was where their brain stopped.
Yeah, this guy went
After that, There was nothing.
That
It
video
was
is
like,
awful.
okay,
I
just
mean, like,
swan dive off the top of the mall, onto him, and just try to crowd surf across the zombies.
so how would we survive in this situation? Because we would have survived, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
we would have especially if we built vehicles to transport stuff, we would have went and hit a Home Depot to get some dirt. There's
Yeah,
glass that
for
we could have made a
planning.
greenhouse inside on the roof, so we could
The one
actually
thing
have
that the one
plants.
thing that remember we talked about was how that they lost power because they were overusing their generators. So you're in a mall, you've got the keys, you have access to the breakers, shut down non-essential power usage,
right.
preserve
All
your
the box stores.
generators and power supply.
Yeah,
For first thing you would want to do.
Mhm.
yeah. Box stores out immediately.
Yeah.
Too much space to cover. Too much power taken. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
if
one
you gotta
creepy
go
guy, wouldn't have been able to watch himself doing the business with his girlfriend from 80 different angles, though.
we talked about that too. Those
Oh,
people
bless
get
his
locked
heart.
up.
Yeah, those
We
people
got
are
the keys
crazy.
to the gates. They get locked up on the other side of the
I'm,
mall.
They get
I'm
voted
sorry.
off the mall.
Yeah, voted off the
Yeah.
island. That's right. This guy's gonna watch himself having doing that. Who knows what else he's watching? He can go to the zombies. That's fine. Here you go.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry if your wife's pregnant. If you and there's a chance she's going to be a zombie baby,
Yeah,
you
no,
take that somewhere else.
yeah,
Make
Yeah.
sure
you.
it's
Well, he did. No, he took it somewhere else. He took it off in his own little corner area. Like
Yeah.
he
he
was
hid
he
it.
Great.
was
He
thoughtful.
didn't
Still too
He was
tell
close.
thoughtful.
anybody he hid it.
Still too
Well,
close.
I mean, we
Well,
got to
Han, you didn't say tell people. You just said, "Hey, go get that away."
No, I meant
Right?
as a
And he
group,
did it.
we would go, I'm sorry, you butts over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We know
we
how to
would
manually heat up oil. Go away.
we're gonna make sure that we get the guy with all the guns safely secured, and we're not gonna let the girl who's fascinated with the dog freak out. Like that's basically the premise of how Dawn of the Dead, I mean not Dead, but Dead Rising happened. My Madonna. She's all scared and she lets the zombies into the mall. And Frank has to go and try to save them, and then they end up
Save
getting
'em.
killed anyway. So, I mean,
No,
Yeah.
and remember, it all goes to hell when they try to go help. What was Frank? What was the guy's name who ran the gun shop?
oh, I can't remember his name.
Well, but they were leaving, right? It's like they were leaving, and they're like on their way out. They were gonna go grab them, and
Yeah,
then everything
Yeah,
went
but
to
they
pot
went
because
under the sewers to get to him. So they were going to go get him first to bring the guns, and then they were going to use a truck, right? To
no, they used the truck to go over there. They sent the sandwich or whatever on the dog,
on the
and
dog. Yeah.
whenever he was getting the dog, that's whenever he got bit, and that's when they realized, oh, he's screwed. But they went over there in one of the trucks, and that was when they busted in because I guess they were trying to get the dog back, if I remember right, because then
yeah,
he had
No, I
zombified
thought
by
the zombie dogs got the dog. Because remember, the zombie dogs showed up, but they don't attack people. They attack dogs
the
because
other
they're
dogs. Yeah, yeah.
zombie dogs. I was
That was
like,
what's so stupid. Is like, oh yeah, so the zombie kinds attack their own kind. Um,
I
no,
was
but
like, Snyder.
the the worst thing about it is this is a big mall, right? There would have been a remote control, like helicopters or whatever, that they could have flew stuff over to him instead of sending this dog over.
Well,
Or
RC helicopters weren't real popular at a certain
but
point.
RC was RC
RC.
cars.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You
RC
these
cars.
right? The
Definitely.
zombies are attracted to noise, so why not put walkie talkies or radios on the RCs and
And
attract
mislead
them
them.
away?
Yes.
There's other things they could have done. It was just like this is a mall full of the most stupid people you've ever met. You know,
Oh, it was.
And most malls have that one area in the mall where there's always the ramps and not stairs to be able to walk up to the next level.
next
Put an
level.
RC
Yeah.
car on there, you ramp that thing up. You're going to get some distance.
Yep.
And then they're just going to be chasing that thing down, and you just take in the Foley's or whatever, and you just go up and down the clothes for a few minutes. That'll
Yeah.
confuse the daylights out of them.
And now that I said there was a bunch of stupid people, Ving Rhames, please don't show up at my house and go medieval on me with a couple
Ving
of your
Rhames
friends.
is the best part of that whole movie.
Yeah,
like, by
he's-
Yes,
far.
he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love you, Ving Rhames.
But Ving Rhames is the best part in a lot of movies. So
Right.
Fair.
sadly, he hasn't done
Fair.
anything recently. Now that I think
No.
about it.
Well,
Yeah,
he's
I don't
going to
even.
be. He's in the final Mission Impossible,
Oh, okay.
and I
Oh,
don't
Good.
like
that's
the
right. He has
previews
been in
because
those movies.
the
Holy crap.
previews really make it look like he might not make it through there. But that could be just a trick.
Maybe he's done doing them. I don't know.
I watched. He was in Miami Vice way back in the day.
Yes.
Yep.
I saw that episode and I was like, man, that's Ving Rhames, and he's looking like a little old teenager. Like, jeez, man.
Well, that's one great thing about Miami Vice is all the cameos, like
Yeah.
between musicians and young actors.
A
Like,
lot of people got their shot on that show.
mhm.
Now, I can't remember. Did he have that deep voice back then too?
No, well, he did. There was sometimes he'd be talking to the girl and it was a little bit higher pitch, and then when he would be talking like to the guys, he'd be doing that deep voice. I was like, I see what you're doing there. I see that.
You know
You
who
know who
else?
else was? Chris Rock was on there. He
That's
played a
right.
file cabinet guy. He was
Yeah.
like a what do you call them? The people who
Clerk.
take care of.
He was like a file clerk or something.
Yeah, file clerk. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, I was laughing.
You know who else had a naturally deep voice that I thought was really funny? I saw somebody telling a story about it. Michael Jackson.
Oh
That
yeah.
persona with the high, soft voice, all in act. And he was
Mhm.
able to keep that no matter what he was doing. There was somebody he was talking to. It was like a couple weeks ago. I wish I'd shared it. He was talking to somebody. He's like greeting him, doing something. Hi, how you doing? How you doing? And as soon as they left me, he goes like, "Man, I'm glad those motherfuckers left." And this guy, it was a black guy, and he did it so, and I was laughing. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is glorious."
Well, he did the
I'll see if I can
voice.
find it.
Well, you know that he was in I think it was Ready to Rumble boxing, like the second one, I think it was, and he actually used his own voice.
Yes, that they
And
talked about that too.
yeah. So
I'll see if I can find that because Vince, you will get a good hearty laugh out of it.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Because he was like, man, you wouldn't believe it.
well, you think about the fact that like when his house got on fire and stuff, and he lost the monkey and stuff, and he's all like, when he called in, he's like, "Yeah, I lost my monkey." It's like, why do you have to have this voice when you had this traumatic thing going
Because
on?
everybody knows what Michael Jackson sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was
I lost my
Right.
monkey. You need to come over
persona.
here and help me. They would
Yeah.
be going, this ain't Michael Jackson. Get out of here and hang up on him.
Yeah. I can just hear him now. Man, give me my propofol.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, this is going to be a good episode.
Well, we've had like what 3 months of pimped up non-talking.
Frustration and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had like what 3 or 4 like false starts because
Yeah, we were gonna
technical
start.
issues or
Oh.
scheduling issues or whatever.
I was tired. Somebody else was tired. Yeah.
Somebody's
We're all like,
cool
we're all
up.
like, where's Vince? Is he doing this tonight?
Yeah, I was sleepy, man.
Man, my laptop. I can't get my laptop to do nothing.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
laptop died.
I went through 3 computers, so we're
Yeah.
lucky I'm here.
My computer was having issues. I mean, it was all over the place.
You name it, we got it.
Well, so okay, this is one thing to the topics we did want to talk about. Like before we get into the meat of the conversation, which is going to be the first 3 episodes for Daredevil.
Right.
Which kind of fits into this is the whole thing with Diamond.
Yeah, we were going to do that. We were going to talk about that in one of the false starts.
So, Dad, you want to kind of give an intro on that one?
The thing is right now, as long as it's in bankruptcy, things are happening as usual. It's not, we haven't seen it affect anybody, any of the comic shops and things like that. But there are people trying to transition and figure out who's going to take Diamond's place.
Mhm.
Because it's highly unlikely they're going to be able to come out of this bankruptcy reorganized.
Yeah,
and I think the bankruptcy is really them trying to get somebody to buy the company. That way that someone else buys it and comes in.
Supposedly there have been a couple offers. So
yes. One of them was I forget what it was. It was somebody I didn't really want to get a hold of because they don't deal in comics. They don't do that. They're a total different type of distribution.
okay.
And I was like, yeah, no. We need somebody who understands the comics, understands how that independent comics are not the same as the big brands. They
Right.
aren't on schedule all the time. There's a lot of different things that are going on.
Some of the big brands aren't on schedule.
Not
No,
anymore, but they
true.
used
Very
to
true.
be. You used to be able to guarantee Marvel was going to be there, and especially when they branched off and did their own. Was it the Heroes
Yeah,
distribution or
here
whatever?
distribution.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You could always guarantee you were going to get um,
Capital City.
Diamonds, yeah, Capital City, and then the Marvel stuff. Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and sometimes Thursdays.
Right.
So you always had product in. Now, like Image, they were never on time.
No. For the first 10 years, they were off schedule all the
Yeah.
time. Oh my God, it was horrendous. You know who's the only one who was consistent all the time? And nobody thinks about this, and it's in every damn supermarket, every 7-Eleven, everywhere. Archie Comics.
Oh
They were
yeah,
the only
yeah.
ones who have been able to hold it together, and they're still out there and still providing new stuff.
Hmm.
And that is Diamond is their number one distributor, but somehow they figured it out, and nobody's paying attention, and that upsets me greatly because Archie has really gone from just being this bubblegum thing of the 50s to having the Punisher. The Punisher.
Yeah, guest star
Comics,
in Archie. Yeah.
and nobody pays attention to it because it's Archie. They've broken so much ground and have figured out so many things, and they're one of the OGs, and nobody's asking them, hey, what are you doing? And it's irritating.
Well, they're still distributing through other distributors. They didn't provide for themselves. Um, I did notice that some of the people who tried to make a name for themselves in the past as a distributor are now kind of trying to come back and fill that gap.
Yeah,
We'll see how that works. Um, but
Well, a lot of it has to do too. Some of the companies, like the mom and pop shops, the comic book stores, they've been actually contacting directly to some
direct,
of
that's what I
these
was going to say.
these
yes,
companies
Yeah,
to get them
direct
to just
mail.
direct mail. I just watched a video of a guy that got a box in of stuff that he'd ordered from a company, and they had to ship it with protectors and like bubble wrap and everything, so they made sure they got it on time to meet the demand for the
But
boxes and stuff
here's the
subscription.
problem: having to get something from a lot of different people who are distributing is kind of like streaming, where you have to buy a bunch of different streaming services to get everything. Diamond, um, what was the the competition for Diamond in the beginning? They were
that
just
was Capital City.
Capital
was it
City, yeah.
Capital City?
Yeah, it was Capital
Um,
City back when I was at Third Planet, and then when I was at HBC, it was
yeah,
Capital
yeah,
City because I remember Lance and Jeff and all the guys and going out and hanging out with them over in the sketchy, like west side of Houston or whatever it was,
Houston, yeah,
that little red building that they had for years
Hmm.
before they moved over by the Astrodome.
by the yep. And then Diamonds, you picked up out by the airport. Their place is up by
Yes,
Intercontinental
yeah, it was right up by the airport because I used to have to go up there with TJ all the time.
Airport.
Well, and that was the thing was
But
like he was trying to do his own distribution back in the like what early
Yeah,
90s.
I expect him to try again. He still has
yeah.
that building.
I was gonna say, if anybody could figure out something on a small scale, it'd probably be TJ. As much as an asshole he is, he he's done this long enough where he could come up with an idea and nobody would want to listen to it because of whatever.
Yeah, for well, past
Yeah,
experiences and
past
everything.
experiences and
He knows.
and encounters and stuff. But you know,
Um,
but
yeah,
still,
other thing is that these companies provided you a one-stop shop, and they were across the United States and all 50 states or relatively close. Now you're going to be dealing with different vendors, different things. If you want statues, T-shirts, cards, you're going to have to be going to all these different places.
yeah,
And that's what happens when you consolidate down to one distribution company and that one goes away. Monopolies never work, and this is just a microcosm of that. Um,
right.
I was like we were talking. I miss that we're not going to have any more Diamond Select. No
Yeah.
more of those vehicles, statues, and those custom things.
Well, they just had announcements at Toy Fair, the New York Toy Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
at least some companies are going direct to the company.
Hmm.
Like I'm watching this one guy on YouTube who's always got these huge, like he just released one today. It's like some kind of Darth Vader thing. He said it's the best $1,000 he's ever spent. I didn't finish watching the video because I was working, but it was a massive box. I mean, it was like a crate, and he spent $1,000 on some. I imagine it was some kind of Darth Vader statue. I have to go back and find it. But apparently, he's getting because he got one of the the big scale Batmobiles. He got some of the Michael Keaton Batman stuff, and he's getting them directly from somebody. And it's not diamond
That would
stuff.
have to be directly either through Hasbro,
That's possible.
which is going to be funny because Hasbro's going away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's
That's
terrible.
another.
yeah. They
At
want to
all.
be an IP clearinghouse, instead of
Yeah,
a manufacturing
Manufacturer, yeah,
distributor.
for toys. And I mean, it's just we're getting to that point where you wonder if because we outsource most of this production, none of it's done in house anymore. It's getting expensive, On top of that, like, is this a push to go completely digital at some point with everything?
Well, and
Well, I
then
mean,
what we had, sorry, David,
no, you're fine.
McFarlane, wasn't it McFarlane switched with Mattel? Who was it that got DC and then the other one got,
Well, okay, so what that is that he's still got the rights to make the 7-inch DC figures.
okay.
Mattel's getting the rights to make the 6-inch and smaller
yes,
figures. So that's how you're going to still have McFarlane's going to have the rights for Marvel and going to have the rights for DC. Now, I don't know if with what's going on with Hasbro is going to change because of the fact that like yeah, they manufacture the Marvel Legends size stuff, which is usually typically a 6-inch scale figure. Is that going to be moved over to McFarlane with him having the license? Because right now he has the license to make those statues, those comic cover statues that have been really nice. But I know that he's supposed to be doing something with the action figure side at some point. So I guess as more things come down the pike, we won't know until then. Um, but I mean, that begs to differ. What's going to happen to, or question is the fact of what's going to happen to G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars. Those are the main three, technically, outside of, Power Rangers and Marvel and a couple
And
other.
wrestling.
Yeah. Well, Mattel still has the holding on wrestling right now.
I guess this is going to be where what seven picks up a lot more.
Well, and that's yeah, exactly, because we know that Super 7 has the rights to the O-ring figures. And that's where I really don't want them to get the classified line. Um, but I'm scared of that. I really don't want to pay $50 for a figure. I mean, it's already getting to the point where prices are getting higher anyway, where what used to be a $20 GI Joe figure is now for 25 or moving up to $28.
Oh, some of them are 30. There's some now that they've reclassified as deluxe that really aren't deluxe. They just add one or two small items with it, and all of a sudden they can make it a premium and charge you an extra $10.
Hmm. I mean, so the whole market for toys is changing. And then, especially with this stuff going on with the comic side of things, I don't know. It is very something we do need to talk about and dive deeper into at some point once we find out some more information.
So, what were you going to say, David? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, y'all are all focused on the toys and all that stuff, but the side that I care about, right, with board games, it's like that was one of that's been a talking point amidst like all the different Kickstarters and things with the you know, not to get into anybody's politics, but like all the tariffs and all that stuff, right? It's like all these board games are manufactured over in China, right? Like
Hmm.
all these places. And so like one of the on almost every Kickstarter game found backer kit thing, there's now a blurb in there where they're all talking about, trying to minimize how much impact and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, I was just the reason why I thought about it was because you talking about how so much of this was overseas. It's like, yeah, that part of it is, but there's even other industries outside of those that are kind of being impacted by it. So it's going to be interesting to see, how all these niche cultures that have been, so that have been thriving for a while now, right? And really been blown and going are going to be affected by a lot of this, right? And Diamond might have just been kind of the beginning, one of the first signs of this kind of stuff starting to really struggle. But like you said, it was a monopoly, right? A lot of these other places aren't monopolies, but still, it's going to be curious to see how the overall ecosystem shifts and adjusts to things as they come.
I would even add too, because like Hasbro owns Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, and so how's that's going to go? And it's already getting to the point right now that so there's blowback on what the new D&D 2025 stuff is going to be
Oh
going
yeah.
on. Um, so maybe that's another reason why they're trying to move out of it. But
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with all the crazy stuff going on with Magic, but Magic's prices are like going through the roof because they've got the Final Fantasy set that comes out later this year,
yep, in
and like
June,
the prices on that are psychotic.
insane.
Like like booster boxes, just like basic booster boxes, which they've stripped out a ton of the value from those. Like there's channels that used to do whole videos where it was kind of a game where it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy a booster box. I'm gonna unpack all the packs, and we're gonna, for certain value of cards, we're gonna see if we even get our money back.
Money back.
And watching those videos over time, you can actually see how every single new set, there's less and less value in these boxes, and it's all in these collector boxes.
Yep,
Well, the collector boxes are like 300, almost four, like I think the
$400,
Final
yeah,
Fantasy ones are like 350, almost $400. Like it's crazy.
yeah.
And they've reduced the number of cards you get in there, but that's where all the value is. And you can only get them in there. And so like Final Fantasy is priced through the nose, and there's a Spider-Man set coming out this year. There's an Avatar: The Last Airbender set coming out at the end of the year. That's the crazy thing, right? The people inside of that have been playing the game for so long, a lot of them are getting kind of upset where, there's like two in-universe releases that are being done for the year. One of them just came out and bombed because it was Mario Kart and no one gave a shit about it. The next one that's coming out in like a month or two is actually going to be kind of interesting. It's going to be it's going to be a whole like dragon themed one. So it's like that's cool. But then all the rest of the year is third party stuff. And so it's like the gravy train is on their third party tie-ins. Like the Lord of the Rings set sold more than basically every other set they've ever done. But it's like how long is Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast going to be able to ride that train until all the paying for all these licenses and skyrocketing the prices drives people out of the market, and you end up tanking your game on it. It's like, I don't know. It'll be curious to see.
Well,
Well, and it's partially to blame for us as collectors and buyers. Remember, whenever we would get boxes, the packs, you were buying them at an elevated price just for the chance. It's that speculator market, and we kept paying the prices. They kept going up. We kept paying, and now it's really us. It's how much will we tolerate before we stop collecting? And as we've seen, people will use credit cards to go and buy, the idea of paying a $2,000 for a toy and then having to pay the interest on a credit card to pay that thing off is ridiculous to me. Um, we've gone beyond being collectors and people who enjoy pop culture and nostalgia. We are like addicts. This is our crack.
well,
We're going to
it's not.
pay whatever it costs
They
to
call it
get.
cardboard crack for a reason, right?
Well, yeah, or plastic crack. But I mean, it's not even just that, Dad. It's the speculation of it.
Yeah, well,
We're
everything's speculation now.
we're it's so hyper focused, hyper oh come on, I can't think of the word right now. But it's like everybody is like, I'm gonna buy this so that way it'll pay for my kids' college tuition or it'll
Well,
be
they've
my
been doing
nest egg.
that forever.
But
So
it's worse now though, Dad. It's like you can't just get a normal set of thing and hope that you're going to get whatever you want out of it. You're like, no, if you want this premium stuff, you got to pay extra money for it. Like that Final Fantasy set that he's talking about. I pre-ordered just to base some of the basic stuff because I'm like, okay, Cloud, Sephiroth, there's some cool things in it like I want. but I don't want any of the special crap. I'm not going to pay like quadruple the amount of what it is just to get the standard set, just because, oh, it's going to have this special foil and it's going to be worth money later on. I don't care if it's worth money later on. I want to be able to enjoy it. Um, but it gets to the point where, we just can't afford everything. And we got all the, not to get political again, all the tariff stuff going on that's going to raise everything, that because we don't realize that everything is manufactured outside this country and then brought
Well,
back in.
if it's manufactured and it has all that's required for them to put manufactured in the US is that all the components that are made outside of the US are put into the final product here. That's how they get away with saying made in America.
Right.
You know, computer companies were doing that. Car companies have been doing it for, decades now. The the thing that bothers me is that um, when you go to buy something, you should be buying it because you enjoy it. It's something you're going to appreciate, not going in and going, oh, this is going to raise in value and it's going to mean something to me. People have forgotten where value came from. The reason why comics went up was because so many were produced, so many have been destroyed over time, and as the amount of the supply dwindles, they
Hmm.
go up in value. They don't just pop out brand new being expensive. That's a con, and it's a con that works very effectively. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
um
What's happening now? I mean, when you have like, Nintendo releasing a limited edition thing that's limited just because they want to get the FOMO going for it, instead of like, if you just made enough for the pre-orders that people would put on it, people would have what they want, and then they would go, okay, we have good faith, so we're going to continue to do this, instead of like, then they get pissed off because they didn't get the whatever special edition Zelda 3DS that came out because they just made it extremely hard to get.
Well,
And
and
who
that was like,
wins?
I mean, that was the crazy thing about, going back to Magic, right? They did their big secret layer release for Marvel, like towards the end of last year, and that, like, the way Secret Lair started when I was out of the hobby, so I wasn't there for the beginning of it. But from my understanding, the way it started was, it was like, oh, hey, here's like some Walking Dead cards, right? That we're gonna like slip into one of these things. So if you open up a pack, you get Rick Grimes. Hey, that's cool and all that. And then eventually they started selling it directly through their own website. And initially it was like made to print, or print to made, whatever, right? Like, they would print as many as was
as the
required
orders, right?
as what people bought it, right? So like, it meant that you weren't going to get the product for a couple months, but everyone that bought something got it.
Mhm.
Whereas the way they're doing it now, and it was really bad with Marvel because everybody wanted in on that set, was now there's a finite amount. But because there's a finite amount, they can go to their shareholders and be like, hey, we sold out, right? Look how awesome this was, that we completely sold out of this product. It's like, it's so wild to think that that's the storyline they want to sell. Whereas, man, y'all would have, how much more money would y'all have made if you had just made it like, to print? You would have gotten twice the amount of people that would have bought that set. So what's a bigger flex? Hey, this sold out in, an hour, or hey, we sold like three times what we were initially expecting to print of this. Like, I don't understand the thinking of these companies and why they're
Well,
like, oh, hey, let's do this limited run because then we can, like, run around saying how awesome it is that it sold out, when it's like, I thought y'all were in it for the money, right? Aren't you in this for the money? What's going on?
equate that to how now with the stuff that, like, how streaming services promote their sales. They don't track numbers anymore. So they can go, oh, look at how many people subscribe to us. Well, yeah, you put on something, they want it, they subscribe, and then next month they're gone. You know, that's kind of the same thing that's going on with what you're talking about, David. It's a different way of accounting now. It's just like movies are being made just so they can fail and collect insurance and other things on it. It's just crazy.
It's the
Hey,
know,
the
producers.
producer's a good movie.
It
Okay.
is a great movie.
Um, the wow, I did not think about that.
What?
Just
Come
the
on now.
idea of what's going on right now. All it took was somebody, he who shall not be named, to say they were going to discontinue pennies, and now there's runs on pennies.
Yeah.
People used to throw them in jars. You'd find them all over the street. Nobody wanted a penny. But now, all of a sudden, now that they're going to be gone, everybody thinks they're going to be of value.
Yeah, it's collector's items, man.
Yeah.
It's called equal opportunity. It's called when COVID happened, it was the water and toilet paper were the things that were scarce, you know. It's like everybody's got to wipe their butt, so let's go out there and let's get that graded and shipped off to WADA.
But hey, you want to know what though? If that winds up becoming like a big selling item, then all those people that have those jars of pennies, congratulations, right? Social Security might go under, but you're covered for the rest of
Yeah,
your life
you're
because
like,
man, you got Bitcoins worth of pennies sitting in that jar.
Oh man. See, and even that is Bitcoin. It's something that's not manufactured. It's not manufactured. It has no intrinsic value, really. It's not something
Well,
you hold in your hand. It can't grow in well. I mean, it can, but not in the normal way.
Well, I
You know,
mean,
like
like let's
well,
be fair, right? Money is just all of us collectively agreeing that yes, this piece of
it's
it's,
paper
of
it
a
has
has
value.
value,
Yeah,
right?
is has
yeah,
has value, or even saying that gold, right? Gold only has the value that we've ever imparted to it. Like
parted
our
to it.
entire system of monetary exchange is just all of us collectively coming together and agreeing that
Except there are some
yes, here's
secure things in it.
an
There's
Okay,
equivalent
security.
value.
so
Because the money is guaranteed by the government. That means if anything were to happen, it's got to replace it for you, give you the equivalent of it, because they back it. Our United States backs that money. But that's not the way Bitcoin seems to work. You can lose money and nobody's going to cover your butt. This is all on you.
yeah, but
It's a
I just want to state though that one Bitcoin is worth $83,000. So I mean,
so yeah.
Everyone says that.
What made it that value? Idiots who
Nerds,
were trying to take
speculators,
nerds.
other
nerds, and
idiots.
yeah,
But
speculators and
but
nerds.
again, those nerds made themselves
That's
rich,
rich.
man.
Yeah,
Good Lord. The
yeah.
people that were I remember just a couple of years ago whenever it was really spiking and there was people like breaking down crying because they couldn't remember the password for like the
Yes.
USB
Oh
stick
yeah,
that
yeah.
had
Yeah.
their Coinbank information on it. I was like, "Oh my God." And then it was the whole like, "Oh, after so many tries it's like going to wipe the disk." I was
So
like, "That sucks."
Sucks. Yeah.
so
Man,
here's the
I would have had that shit tattooed on my arm. I would have had that written in stone
I
somewhere.
would have it
Holy
tattooed on the
crap.
inside of my eyelid,
Yeah, yeah.
not of my arm, where
You have
other
to pull
people
out
can read it.
your eyelid like, okay, I can see
That
it.
would
Yeah.
it
So
would have
let
been
me
some
ask you a
cut it
question.
would have
Let
been
me
some
ask you
cutthroat
if
island. You need to shave my head kind of shit to find it.
Yeah.
if you
Bad
want
monk.
to do this, can you imagine if shit became valuable? Everybody would be collecting people's shit, shoving their
Oh,
pockets full of shit.
You want
dude,
to know
like in
what?
freaking American Dad, where
Did they do that?
Roger's shit was gold.
Oh, gold. That's
Yeah.
right. I remember that.
Yeah.
And or passing gas. Oh, I'm gonna fart. Look, it's a $10 million fart. Who wants to
That
buy
is, no, no,
this?
no, no,
Hey,
no, no,
hey,
no.
hey, hey, hey.
Hey, that is actually there was a woman, an
Yes.
OnlyFans model who was selling her farts in a jar and actually had to go to the doctor because like she was whatever it was that she was eating or doing or whatever to like cause the bubble guts to get that to
Chipotle.
work was actually messing her up, and so she
She's
had to
eating
go to the doctor and
Chipotle.
get that sorted out.
She was
It's like,
paying
oh my
10
God.
grand a bottle.
That's
Yep.
why I know that we've never been visited by aliens because they go around us. They're
What are you
stupid down
talking
there.
about?
They're down
No,
We're
no,
their
no.
low.
TV,
Don't know how
Dad.
to
They're
We're
do
yeah,
this.
they
It's
are
like
down here.
they're Clark Griswold, man.
they're
Clark
watching
Griswold.
our TV,
Pull
man.
him up.
Roll them up. Yeah, exactly.
They're literally phoning back and be like, "Y'all are not gonna believe this. They
Yeah,
just started
we
doing
are
this week."
technically we are a reality TV show on some other planet.
It's like
Yeah.
Yes,
it's like
I
these
mean
guys
we're a
were so
reality TV
close to
show on our
curing
own planet.
cancer, but all they do is they want to bicker and sell it amongst themselves.
They
It's
just
like
want to shake their assets
they
on
could
the camera.
they could literally fix all their problems, but they don't want to do it.
I've got a thing. Let's create a show called "What Would You Kill Your Neighbor For?" And it will like have ham sandwiches, chocolate chip cookies, Klondike bars, whatever.
That's where I was
Get
about
out
to go to. I was like,
free
man, I
card.
would be terrified of what people are gonna do for the Klondike bar.
Yeah,
Mhm.
'Cause
especially
that's
once
where
ice
we're
cream
at today.
when
That's
especially
exactly
when
where we're at.
the cows die off because of mad cow disease and there is no milk.
Now they'll use oat milk
Come here, goat.
or goat milk.
Yeah, goat.
I draw the line at camel's milk.
Hey.
That would be the end.
There's a meat market about 20 minutes from here. They sell camel meat, and you can get alligator, you can get elk, you can get.
So, Colin, what's
emu.
camel meat taste like?
I don't know. I'm curious. I'm gonna probably
Gator tastes good.
I don't how
Gator is
so how
good.
much
I've had elk too.
You can get
I've
frog.
had. Yeah, I love gator. I've had elk. I've had rattlesnake. I've had armadillo.
They
I've
have
had
that.
ostrich.
I'll have
Ostrich is
to
pretty good.
I'll have to take a picture of the menu and share it with you guys.
So how much is how much is a hump per pound?
I don't know. That's supposed to be all water, so I don't know. I will. We got a menu because you can buy boxes of meat from them and stuff
Boxes
like
of
that.
meat.
And I will scan it and I will share it with you guys, just so you know. This little bitty town called Scribe of Meat Markets. Okay, this little bitty place. They have some of the most exotic stuff in the world. I used to go to them to get my frog legs for gumbo.
Do they still do frog legs?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm gonna have to have you ship me some down.
Oh, you can get them, and they're huge, man. Oh, they don't play around. They're massive. I will. We're going to be going next month because we're going to be doing a box order of some kind, and I will take pictures of it so you can see them.
The last time I had frog legs was, I forget what restaurant we went to, and the granddaughter was just staring at me, and all she could say was "ribbit, ribbit," and I was like, "Yeah, ribbit right into my mouth." But they were tiny. I was like, "Man, we've run out of the big frogs, and now we're putting little bitty tiny frogs into wheelchairs."
Oh no, these things are massive. They're like good sized chicken wing size. They're massive.
Yeah. Oh, God, I miss those days.
Um,
And I've even had buffalo. Buffalo is really good.
Yeah, buffalo's good.
Buffalo is pretty common up here,
Hmm.
but it's good. I mix it in with burger.
I love how we went from comics to
To toys, to
the
distribution,
toys, the distribution.
to money, now to food. We've covered
food,
all
Welcome
of
to
that.
the Dad Level Podcast.
Yeah, right. Where we really dive deep into things that people really want to talk about.
That's right.
We've covered all the
We answer
survival
those
of the-
burning questions.
Yeah. Oh man, and I'm hungry too. But
Yeah, I made myself hungry just with the frog legs.
well, so
Hey, I'm inside a cheese grater.
we had a vendor usually we have a vendor that comes in and like to talk shop and stuff, and he'll take us out to eat. And we went to Papa's Seafood.
Oh,
So I had some crawfish, egg touffee.
Etouffee.
Yeah.
we can actually get crawfish here, pretty heartily too.
Oh, the stuff we get up here is tiny, tiny. It's not even worth the.
I'll take some
effort
pictures of
of
those.
trying to
We
eat it.
actually get some really good size ones. I have to be careful though when getting any shellfish because Julie's allergic to all of it.
Mm.
So I have to. She's like, "Well, I'm gonna go see my stepfather for a little while."
That's like being allergic to peanut butter and jelly.
It
Peanut butter.
is. It's
Some of the greatest food, and you're allergic to it.
Yeah.
Mm. Two
Now
people-
I gotta say, since
Two
we're on
people I
food,
know that are allergic to peanut butter.
It's on the
One of
same
them looking
level.
at.
Yeah, but I'll eat it every now and then just and suffer through it.
You will.
Yeah,
I've
because
seen
I'm
it.
like, I would kill for. That's what I would kill for. That's my show. The peanut butter and nanner sandwich. That's it.
You can have like there's alternative
I
peanut
eat
butter.
almond butter now, but
Yeah.
it's not the same. There's just something missing.
No, it's okay, but no. Even if you get the homemade kind that's got the oils in it, no,
Oils in it, yeah.
it still doesn't help.
And what kills me is, have you watched any of the TikTok and YouTube where they have all these people cooking from Asia and other countries,
Yeah.
and they've got lobsters, they've got shrimp the size of a football,
Yeah.
and they're like just stuffing it in there.
Prawns.
There was a crab leg,
Prawns,
man,
yeah.
that was like 12 feet, 12
Yeah.
inches long, and she just like, and it's always girls, and they're all like, and I'm like, it's like the word.
There's snow crab. They're king snow crab over there.
It's beautiful girls and seafood. Stop it.
I mean,
David.
they're segmented. Bruce Lee could use them.
I want to know what David says.
That was a very unfortunate series of sounds you made.
That's what it sounds like. Watch one of them eat this stuff, man.
Now, Vince,
Like,
you have
just rewind that back and start around the time. It's like
You
all
mean
those
that-
girls just going.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
thing
it
is,
sounds
now
they're
do
like,
this.
They're sucking your face.
and it's like,
Now
like,
do
what?
this when you're doing it.
I don't know what kind of food shows you're. It's are you watching the Cream
It's
Freeze
AMSR, man.
From
It's on anything on. It's all over the place. Even these survival shows where they show the guy or somebody by a lake and they're caught a fish and they're cooking. It's always so big, much bigger than what you could buy anywhere or actually go out
Absolutely.
and catch.
That's what
I'm
she
like,
said.
Where the hell are these places? God, I just need an HEB to open up next to me.
Hey, you're missing out. There's some really good HEB stuff.
No, I got a Walmart. Everything's guaranteed to last until he gets home.
Yeah.
Preach it.
Yeah.
And Walmart lies. You go on their website, they say, "Yeah, we got this." Because I'm always looking for Japanese stuff.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, Walmart's got this ramen noodle. I get over there.
You can order 31
Lies.
things.
Just magnificent lies.
Yeah, you can order 31 things, right? Order your groceries for the week. And you're lucky if you get 6 or 7 of those items. But they get to collect that money and hold it for 2 weeks, up to 10 days. You're like, what? Y'all living off other people's interests?
Hey, who knows?
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, I think there's some other things we've missed.
Yeah.
Plenty we've missed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could get into Daredevil now if you want. Born Again.
I dare you.
You dare me?
Double
dog
dare you.
Do you Daredevil me?
I double Daredevil you.
What about Angel Devil? And Dare Angel?
You got to be born again first.
Right. All right, so Disney Plus has released the first 3 episodes for Daredevil Born Again, which is continuation of the Netflix 3 seasons that we got. And I gotta say, that first episode, that first
10 minutes was brutal.
First 12 minutes, I think it's 20 minutes was,
I don't think it's quite 20 minutes, but
no, because it was even up to the point. Yeah, it was up to the point when they were on the roof and everything, and he throws him down.
Yeah.
That's up
don't
to the point.
Say a word.
I didn't say. I'm not. Hey,
spoiler.
I'm very vague. Very vague.
They even show part of that in the trailers.
They did.
Which I gotta add real quick. I watched the first 3 episodes all back to back this morning, and 1/3 of the advertisements were trailers for Daredevil Born Again.
For Daredevil, yeah.
Another 1/3 was Batman. Some kind of.
Oh no! It's the Allstate, or what is it?
It's State Farm Batman.
State Farm Batman stuff. Yeah, I'm like, it's a full court press. Like there's a Batman movie coming out, but it's all it is a State Farm commercial.
Yeah, but the thing is, they got somebody in a Batman costume in the shadows.
Right,
and you got Catwoman, but you're like,
the Catwoman, you got Jake from State Farm walks up. He looks like he's in the Joker outfit, and he's
Yeah.
not.
Was that Jake from State Farm? Or was that another guy?
No, it's him. It's the
I
same
was
guy
gonna
who
say
does
Jake from
the.
State Farm was white. The guy that they had.
No, I meant the
Purple.
guy from the one who took over for him for State Farm.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
can't remember what his name is in the show. I thought it was Jake too. I thought they were just making it a joke where they can replace anybody and just still call him Jake.
The funny thing is, David's face is like we were talking about Daredevil, and you started talking about commercials.
How
No,
did we
but
get? And now we're in
when
like
you watch
Geico.
this
I
stuff,
don't know how we got
Yes,
here.
it's
52
it's
minutes or something
15
like that.
minutes.
This is
of-
such a
it's-
good show. Now let's talk about State Farm.
It's 15 minutes of
Exactly. Because
episode.
it's there.
It's 15 minutes of episode and 35 minutes of State Farm.
Of State
It
Farm.
feels like 35 minutes. It was 90 seconds or something like that. But it was commercial. Daredevil, commercial. And half of it's Batman. And you're like, what? What is going on? And it
But
really
Catwoman,
broke the
I gotta
rhythm
admit,
for me.
I must
Catwoman-
blissfully have
Catwoman
some
was
kind
hot.
of
Yes,
Yeah,
that
because I
Catwoman
didn't
was
have any
cute.
commercials
I will
other
do
than
that.
yeah.
I didn't have any commercials on mine.
Well, la-di-da.
Well, I mean, other than like them, like what is it? On Andor was having some season 2.
Oh, I saw Andy.
No. They show one preview of Andor, and then the rest of it is selling you to go back and watch season 1.
Yeah.
Streaming
I saw 2
now. It's like Andor 2. Streaming now, first season.
Yeah. It's teasing you. I had to double take. I was like, wait, it's out now? I didn't realize it was out. This is awesome. You have like Star Wars and Daredevil on. So
Yeah.
And
okay.
it doesn't suck.
Hey,
Yep.
No, it did not. None of those episodes were bad. All of them
No.
were great. I wanted
Yeah,
more.
You're not going to get an argument here.
The fact that the episodes are an hour long each or close to an hour, perfect.
Yeah, I was about to say episode 3 was like what 36, like 40 minutes, I think.
Episode
It
2 was
wasn't
kinda
quite an
short.
hour, but it was a little shorter, but
Yeah.
still.
but they even said it right up front before it premiered. They said some of them are going to be short. They
which
even let
is
you know that.
which is dumb. That means that they had a specific hour mark, not a actual episode content wise.
Right.
And the other thing is that I thought there was going to be a lot more than 10 episodes.
I thought there was 2. I thought there was going
There
to
was
be 12.
supposed to be
And you told me that it's now down whittled to 9, right?
9.
9, but they were it was supposed to be like
I think it was 12
either
episodes.
18.
It was supposed to be a larger amount.
When they retooled it, they
Yeah.
cut the episode amount in half, which is totally fine with me because it means that they went back to focus on the story.
Which is definitely, you can tell. I mean,
Yes.
what's going on between, like, I love the whole thing with like Matt
And
with
Wilson.
his story and Wilson Fisk, the fact that he's running for mayor. That's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. But like between the two of them, both of them want to become better than what they were because of the events of things that happened either before the show or during the first episode.
And they
Right.
get drugged back into their past lives against their will.
Right.
I
And
really
the-
like the Sopranos knockoff.
Well, that's his son.
No, they now have a psychiatrist on the
Oh,
episode
yeah.
who
Oh,
talks
that.
to everybody, and you're like, okay,
yeah, I'm curious as to where that's going to go.
yeah,
Because eventually the two are going to collide and everybody's going to realize that, somebody's going to put it together.
yep.
You know that's coming. So, but yeah, I started watching it. I'm going, oh man, this is going to play out horribly.
Well, it does work very well, especially considering like she's dating him, but she's also the therapist for Fisk.
Yeah. Okay.
and then-
Don't say anymore because that's a spoilery thing.
I love the fact of the courtroom drama
Mm-hmm.
with Matt and him doing his day-to-day cases and things like that. It helps with how She-Hulk should have been. Me and Dad talked about this and the fact that like you could have had her do these real courtroom cases, but they didn't. It made it into this nonsense.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they completely retconned all that. So like you don't know if that actually happened with Daredevil, or was it just like some alternate universe? Because I don't really see it.
I
Matt,
don't think anything that happened to She-Hulk is
yeah,
canon. It's
can't
not canon.
anymore. Um, but I love the references and Easter eggs to other things that are going on within the MCU.
Yeah,
That's been really nice.
yeah. The three main mentions,
Yep.
without going into them, were nice. But there was one thing that Fisk could have mentioned that seriously would have had an impact on the way he ran his campaign. If all he had to do was reference the invasion and how they
Oh,
rebuilt
the
from
secret
that.
invasion, where the
No,
we
no,
don't
not
know.
even that. He did because he wasn't aware of that. No, I'm talking about Avengers, the movie at the
Oh,
end.
you're talking about the first movie with
Yeah, I'm talking about the invasion
yeah.
because there other shows have referenced it and stuff like that. They could have easily because they clearly established that they're in the bigger universe with
Yeah.
their by putting him in
And
Spider-Man stuff like that.
where are all the weapons? In
Oh,
all the
they
other
explained that.
stories, do they explain? I don't remember them explaining
There
what
was
happened to all
item
the.
47 was one, and then the beginning of No Way Home or
Oh, no,
no,
no, no! I got that. And then they brought in damage control.
exactly.
And
They're the ones that
they're
took
there
the
to
initiative.
gather up all of the stuff, but
Yep.
still, that stuff's on the black market. You
No,
know,
but remember though, we're you guys are going way too far back. You got to think about the fact that this show takes place after Echo, in the time
yeah, we
frame. So
understand that.
so the snap has happened,
Right.
Yes,
And he could have referenced all of that
right? And they haven't really kind of brought that up, but they did bring
because
up. I mean
he,
it. Um, they did bring up certain hero.
don't say. Yeah, okay, cut his mic. He's giving. I'm the guy
Hey,
who
no,
yeah,
no,
gets
no, no.
spoilers.
That's not.
they reference it. They reference certain characters,
Yeah,
but they could have easily, like he was talking about making New York stronger. He could have easily said, "Listen, after the invasion, we came back. We were stronger, but it wasn't strong enough because that's his
Yes,
thing. He thinks that everything that happened had limits, and he's going to make it better than that." And they even referenced what was the equivalent of the Sokovia Accords
yeah.
for the local thing, which was a part of a Civil War thing.
No,
Okay,
the thing is that um, they could have done other things, and we're early in. This is only episode 3.
exactly.
yeah.
I
Three,
want.
three out of nine.
I would love to see J. Jonah Jameson in this as a cameo. You could have him on the billboards talking.
Yeah.
I would have really liked to have him going, against Fisk, and
Thing
have those little
is,
background things going where he's like, "Don't vote for," because it happened really quickly. I thought that they were
yeah,
going to stretch out the election a little bit longer, and that's probably stuff that got cut out.
yeah.
Um,
But if you think about it, Jameson is very anti bleep
but he
and
was also against crime,
And he's
and
a
right.
superhero.
But
He's
then
against
was a
superheroes and
criminal.
crime.
He
Yeah.
spent time
he's
in
very
prison.
anti-vigilante, and he would have
Yeah.
aligned with Fisk on that. So if he'd come on as a cameo, or if he does, that would be the one thing he would focus on because of all the other stuff that Fisk mentioned in his
Yeah.
election.
And another thing is they're eating into Norman Osborn with this.
They are.
And I'm like, okay, I know you want to bring Norman because y'all have talked about it in the future into the universe, but you're taking all the best parts of Norman and giving them
To
to
Fisk.
Fisk when he
Yes.
had his own. You could just play Fisk for Fisk and not have him turned him into a pseudo Norman.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as long as they keep him where he is and keep him in his lane, like Matt said, that's fine. Because
Yeah.
if they start trying to connect that, if they start trying to shoehorn in that into the stuff that's coming, like Thunderbolts, if you try to do any linkage with that, that's going to mess everything up.
But they're going to have to acknowledge these things. These things were world shattering.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is my point because the original invasion, the Shatari invasion, was a major impact, and it affected New York, and Fisk could have run on that. If they use him to reference Thunderbolts, it's going to have to be in the second season because they've just started filming that.
Well, no, Thunderbolts is finished. It's about to come out.
I know. No, they started second season of
Oh
Daredevil.
yeah, they're
Daredevil,
already
yeah.
started.
So if they're going to reference Thunderbolts, it's going to be in the end of that, unless somehow they overlap time, which they've done, and they did with Agents of Shield, which was fine for me because I wish it was canon, but it's not.
It was up till a point, then it got changed.
And then just because Kevin Feige and what's his bumble face there at Marvel Television
Good
clashed
catch.
all the time, huh?
I said good catch.
Hitch.
You were about to say Bumble something else.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
So, but thing is, when Marvel TV and Marvel movies were clashing, they just hated each other for hating each other. Literally, I'm talking about Kevin Feige and whoever. Blah 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 blah.
the other guy was, I can't remember.
Yeah, and Pearl Mother maybe.
It was Pearl Motor. Yeah.
Thank you. So they just said, no, we're not going to let these be connected because we hate each other, which was the dumbest thing because you would have already established a ton more stuff that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. worked really hard to establish.
Yep.
Like Man-Thing would have been part of it. Ghost Rider would have been part of it. Absorbing Man would have been part of it.
Yep.
The list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And because these two nut jobs hated each other, they said, no.
Well,
So, I mean, and now they're striving to put the Netflix stuff back on the market, back on the map.
On the map, yeah.
But the thing is, how far are they going to go with it?
And see,
That's one of the things I'm looking forward to with this season. How in depth are they going to get with it?
Right. And how committed are they? Are they
Exactly.
going to change their mind the first time the wind changes? You know, it seems to be like they follow wherever the wind blows. And you can't do something successful like that. You have to have
No.
a good idea of where you're going, what you want to accomplish, map it out, and just see it through, even if it fails. Because how many times have we seen a series hit its third season and boy, it starts clicking, and the next thing you know, it's 10 seasons long.
Right.
You know, just stay
Natural.
committed to what you're trying to do and quit allowing yourself, you know, because audiences are fickle.
well, then we're starting to see problems with that right now because apparently the ratings aren't as great with Daredevil, but I don't think it has anything to do with as bad as the show is because the show is fantastic.
The show
I
is
think-
fantastic.
I think it has.
Anticipation and speculation again.
Well, it's the bad what we got reputation from how the Disney shows have been with Marvel.
Right.
On top of that, they have this weird thing where instead of you going and being able to watch this midnight of the next day, you have to wait till 7 p.m. or wherever you're at to be able to watch the next episode on Tuesday.
That would be 7 p.m. in California.
And it's the worst thing because, you know, like, why are you putting this in the time slot like it's on Prime TV? And it's not.
Exactly. Just put it up.
The last thing about this is the fact that with at least season 1 through 3 of the Netflix, you could binge it.
Right. And that's one thing I do miss.
Should, and
I don't want them to go back to binging. I like the anticipation.
Yeah.
I like waiting. It builds and makes the show feel more fun.
I understand that, but the problem is when you already have bad rapport with your consumer base, you got to have something because like they should know that the show is going to be good. Just let people binge it. You need a win, and that's
Marvel
the thing.
needs a win. They
And
desperately.
this is going to be that show to do it. But when YouTubers and other people are already going, oh, the ratings are bad because it's being put out there. It's because
there's a lot of haters who just want to see Marvel. And,
Yeah, people just want to watch the world.
Right, but the thing is that if people like, all right, Ryan wants to watch the show, but he's not going to watch it until everything's out, so he can binge it all in one sitting.
That's because he has no.
Okay.
He has no patience.
No, it has nothing to do with patience. It's the fact that it's what is convenient for him to watch it. And the thing is there's other people out there that just don't have the time to sit there and go, okay, well, I'm going to go watch this like normal TV when we've already been conditioned.
But see, the difference with that is it's not like normal TV. It comes out on a certain time. You have all week until the next episode to catch that.
Right.
Whereas
That's
on regular television, you got one night. to watch it. And if you missed it and you didn't record it, you had to wait until the reruns.
Yes, but
So there's a big difference.
no, but they're not when you're dealing. That's the old way. Now you miss it the first night, you get to watch it on streaming the second night, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
forth.
Now,
So
with that being said, that's the way I watched all the stuff we've had to watch before. I waited until it was all done so that I could get the whole story back to back without having to go back and retake notes and refresh myself. Now, I do agree with Vince getting that weekly thing that we grew up with. Okay, the next installment, that is anticipating. That is, it gets you. I'm thinking about it. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Okay. Because I don't know what's going to be next. I knew because of all the spoilers and stuff what was going to happen in the third episode before I saw it. And I regret that. I don't have any going on at this point. I don't know what's going to happen next. I know there's speculation, but blah, blah, blah. But I sat and watched Mandalorian in one bulk because I waited, because I watched you guys talk about it on the chat and I watched what other people were saying. And I said, okay, I want to see it for myself. That's the way it's not that I've been conditioned, but it's the way that I enjoy it because I have so much going on in my life that if it's just, okay, gotta have it, move on to the next thing. Going back and forth is okay. Like with Daredevil, it's going to be fine because I really invested already. I was invested by the end of the first episode. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with going back in episode, because that's also what I grew up with. If it were any other show, I'd wait.
You see, when I went into this, I refused to learn anything about it. I told Vince, I was like, look, I want this to surprise me. I want to feel that emotional tie.
Yeah.
Because when you know too much, you're kind of watching it at a distance.
Yeah.
But when it's all fresh and new and you don't know what's coming, it's just more exciting in a way.
I should have done that, and I wanted to do that with this, and I tried so hard, but because so much was going on. No, I completely agree with you. You gotta, because of the fact that so many people are so willing to just put stuff out there and not care because they want their content. You're gonna, it's like us. We try to be careful with spoilery because we want our fellow geeks to say, okay, they're talking about it this much. I want to go see it. I'm invested now. So we try to be careful, but there are people out there who just want them numbers and they don't care. And that's where the speculation is. And that's where the lines are drawn.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been trying to say that for an hour.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to quit relying on influencers and other people to help us form an opinion. You need to go see something yourself. You need to watch it in whatever way is comfortable for you. But go see it. Like, go see a movie. If this movie is meant to be seen on the big screen, you're not going to get the same feel from it on even on a 75-inch television. Some films are meant to be seen on the big screen. And how many times does a movie come out, you go see it, and it's really good, but the bad press is because somebody's opinion or they had an agenda ruined it, and they go out and say it's horrible. Even when I don't like it, I'm not trying to influence anybody. I'm just saying for me, it didn't work. But you really need to go see it yourself. So, as you listen to us, go on, you need to watch Daredevil for yourself. You need to see Andor. You need to see other things and decide for yourself if something is good or bad. It's just like you guys, we were talking about the very first part of Daredevil, and me and Vince talked about it. Yes, the fight scene was intense.
Yeah.
This one, but it didn't compare for me to the fight scene from the first episode of Daredevil, the Netflix. That fight scene when he was fighting multiple people and having to work off the walls and everything else, I didn't like.
Actually, I think that's the second episode because I just watched the first episode with the daughter the other day. But we know what the fight scene you're talking about.
Yeah, the one where he's
But
fighting the gangsters.
mhm. But the thing is that the impact of what's going on is the same. Combat wise, yes, that was much more intense. But dealing with what was going on between Daredevil and the person that he was fighting,
Fighting, yeah.
that was devastating. That it was shock and awe versus not like
I think
spectacle.
it was shock and awe because of what he did and everybody wanting him to get that other guy.
No, but it's
Whereas
not. It's not just it's not Daredevil. The thing was is like when I watched that first sequence, that 20-minute sequence in the beginning of the first episode, it felt like I was reading a Marvel comic. It was like I'm seeing what these characters truly look like and should or not truly look like, but how they should be performing. When he's swinging around, like it
I
was
enjoyed that.
that
okay,
was
yeah. I mean, that was something we've wanted with
right.
him with the thing. I'm
So,
talking
but
about
it
the
was,
fight sequence for me. I wasn't talking about that. If that had not been in there, it wouldn't have been Daredevil. I expected that.
but we never
I,
really
but
got
I
that. We
want to
never
see
really
that.
got. We didn't
No,
get
we
that with the
didn't
original
because
original
we couldn't
series,
afford it.
Right.
right? So we got a moment where we got to see him in his true prime and
Yes.
fighting one of his mortal enemies, and it was like it was a dire situation because there was collateral damage around it. Even when he's fighting the gangs in that second episode of the first season
There's
of
no collateral damage. You're right.
no,
But
it's
I could
like
have lived without the smoke, which was
well,
designed to hide some of what was going on.
well, and that's the
Right. And
limitation. That's the limitation of Disney not wanting to put forth the effort to put the CGI in. But even when they got past that point and they're fighting in from outside the club, up the stairs, in the hallway, up to the rooftop and everything, that
Yeah,
stuff, that was amazing.
it
Like,
was.
I guess I'm spoiled because I just spent the week watching Korean fight movies,
Oh, no kidding.
and I'm like, all right, I just watched something a better
but
fight.
but
Yeah,
here's
you
that
can't go from the raid to this and be
right,
like,
but
oh
Yeah,
man,
and
these are
that
garbage.
and that goes
I
back
mean,
to the whole thing of what you just
You watch Demon City. Demon City is fantastic.
right, but Dad, two different mediums.
No, I understand.
And second of all, you've already stated that you can't go into something with a preconceived notion, experience it as it is.
No, but
And
I
I'm not
do have
looking.
an expectation because you talked about expectations. When I saw that first fight scene from the original, I expect Disney, who has a much bigger budget, to top that.
Well,
And I didn't feel like they did that. I
we
felt,
also expect Disney to fail us with everything that they do right now. This right now is a win. So far, everything
no,
that
I
we're
agree so far, but we're 3 episodes in. So, you know, up till now, I've been very happy with what I watched. I enjoyed it. They have the ability. I enjoyed Secret Wars, which a lot of people didn't. Not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion. I
yeah.
really did.
I'm sorry.
Um, but there is for me, to make it fit into the overall universe, I have not seen it yet. You can't throw out a few words and make it fit. There needed to be more damage in the city. There needed to be people. We needed to see newspapers. It would have gone a long way to have Jonah Jameson
Hold on.
about that,
You're
or even have him.
you're still thinking this takes place just after the Avengers first movie.
I
This
did
is
not say that. I did not say that. But this takes place after a lot of other stuff happens.
I was about to say the first season's what comes out. The very first season was right after the Avengers movie,
right.
right?
And that's
So
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is
what damage?
years
This is years
later.
later. This is like
Yeah.
so
No,
I'm
no,
like
no,
No,
no. I mean,
but you
there's
would
been
still have had like there's still been a few other things that have gone in New York since then, right? So, I mean, but
I
I
mean,
would just
like,
like to I would just like to point to my sign of I don't need all of my shit so deeply interconnected. I know y'all want that. I am perfectly fine with them
yeah,
just like
Dave
completely
is back.
ignoring all of that nonsense. It's like,
David's
yes,
back.
just give me Daredevil. Just give me good Daredevil. I don't need to hear about this stupid Eternal's head sticking out of the
Oh
earth
no, that's
wherever.
not what I
Like I
mean.
don't
But if
need
you're
all
gonna
that
do,
shit. Leave that alone. Captain America just fought Red Hulk, like the president just turned into Red Hulk or whatever. Don't care. Just give me Fisk, give me
that
Daredevil,
takes place
give
in
me that
Washington,
nonsense, and I'm
so it's
good.
not in New York.
Two different states.
Two different cities.
Oh,
Um,
you're telling
but
me that the
I want to
president
see
turning into Red
Daredevil.
Hulk wouldn't be all over the news in New York
Well,
City?
It should have. That's what I was saying. If this is a connected
I'm good.
universe, the stories need to have elements in there that help tie it for the audience. We
Correct.
shouldn't have to be building that link.
Well,
You
we
know,
should see that, but the thing is, I
yeah.
think we're still too early on to know exactly when this takes place.
I think
And I
season
want to
2 is going
see
to cover that.
I want to see Daredevil, because in the comics there were a lot of parts of New York that were constantly destroyed. He had lots of fights in rubbled areas.
Mhm.
You know, you know what would be great, since we've moved Karen. We're not, and we haven't done Elektra. Um,
Yeah.
did they do Elektra in the first one, the first
Yes,
series? Okay.
yes. Season
Um,
2 was about her.
the
She was
you
the
know, but
second
there
she
was a
was the
whole part
second
of his
half of
life.
season 2.
Yeah, second half of season
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
So there was a whole part of his life that was spent with um Black Widow. She lived with him. They were partners. They did all this other stuff. And why not
And
have
she did.
She's dead.
what?
Yeah,
She did.
she
She
did.
No,
gone.
Yeah.
there's a second Black Widow, which is her sister, which is living in New York, and she was doing things for the government. She could have easily have just hooked up with Matt and had a relationship.
Well, she's
You
right
know?
now with the
That
Thunderbolts, so we really
could
can't.
still
Yeah,
happen.
and see, there's another thing. You bring up Thunderbolts. We know that what happens in the Thunderbolts kills a bunch of New Yorkers.
Well,
It could
I
only
hope like hell they have that introduced in the second season.
oh, I'm sure they will. I mean, if this does well, and it should, because everything that I understand what's going on, this is, I mean, everybody's saying this is really good that have actually watched it versus the people that are like naysayers. But
Because I really didn't like for all these, what did they kept calling the heroes, vigilantes. There's vigilantes at this point. There are people who are like, I love a vigilante, bring me in Captain America, I love Thor, where's Thor, he looks so hot, and all those other things that you would hear on the street. Quit calling vigilantes, because at this point in
they're
their life
heroes.
they're heroes and there's
he was
villains.
he was real specific. Fisk was when he named off
Yes.
those people, and he
Mhm.
didn't name them by name. He named them by description, which
Yeah.
means he understood the difference between world saving and street level.
Yeah.
Because he can't attack them.
No,
Right,
you can't.
because he knows that they're
Because
high
they've got government connections and all that. He's trying to be low key.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like somebody else talking about immigrants.
Right.
That's his political thing, is
Right.
the people.
That's the hot.
The
Yeah.
cops are supposed to be the heroes. I was like, okay, we've already had this whole argument with why people wear masks. I don't need him to repeat that. Why do heroes wear masks? They're hiding something. At this point, you should know that people hide who they are
For a
because
reason.
they're trying to protect their loved ones.
That's what tells me that this season of Daredevil takes place around the time he was in No Way Home, because the fact that he was that whole year becoming this whole season where he's going to become Daredevil again. He's just Matt Murdock. And what does Matt Murdock do? He represents people. So he shows up in Peter's house or apartment.
Yes.
So that tells me that that's this. Everything that happens with Thunderbolts is post all that multiverse.
And if that's the case, if they're in New York and it's certain parts of New York, you would see those big billboards that we saw in that, where it's 24 hours broadcasting for everybody to see Jonah Jameson talking about the villains and the heroes and all that stuff. We really needed to do. The one thing I always hated was in comics, when there's this big event and certain heroes, New York is full of heroes, right?
Right.
Where are they? Why don't they show up and help the other ones? You know,
And I think they started world building in that particular aspect. They've referenced Echo many times. White
yes,
Tiger was introduced. Daredevil has been referenced many times. And of course, the other ones that just talked about that,
yeah.
okay, we can say Punisher because everybody knows he's coming
Well,
back.
something I've already talked about to Dad. I didn't bring up it here in the podcast, but like Ben Urich's niece or
Granddaughter.
granddaughter. Who she work for? Does she work for the Daily Bugle?
No, she's
And
on
she's
her
just just a freelance. So but she could do freelance for the Daily Bugle as well.
they could easily expand it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that clearly that storyline is going to have impact long term.
Yeah.
I hope they play it right.
So I mean,
They name drop Ben Urich was very refreshing.
Yes, it was. I
They went
really
they
enjoyed
went
that.
back to season 2, which was a difficult season to get through for a lot of different reasons. But it seems to me that they've skimmed over season 3 using certain references and certain characters, but they built a lot of this universe off of season 2.
Well, didn't you say, Vince, that they were originally going to bypass most of the original series except for like season 1?
Yeah, originally when they were writing this, it was not they weren't going to do anything connected to the original Netflix series. It was going to be its own thing. And then
Right.
they got to episode 4 and realized it wasn't working, so they decided to go back. I don't know if that has to do with all the backlash they've been getting and, because
No,
of all the
that's when Perlmutter came in. They were halfway through season 1 with all the super long episodes, and Perlmutter said, or whatever his name is, he said, "No, this isn't right. This isn't working. You need to retool it." And
Yeah,
that's
because
when
Paul
they went
Munner,
back and said, "Okay,
was the one who worked with Feige originally.
right." And he
And
left Disney and came
yeah,
back and said, "You're overdoing it."
Mhm.
yeah, because the new guy who was in charge, who was the showrunner, um, I can't remember what his name
His name's
is.
listed on the episodes. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one who they mapped out, and they mapped this thing out for over a year. I mean, this wasn't something that was spurred on him. This was going to be this big event, and it just wasn't. I know that much, that I've seen enough interviews with him that it wasn't working and that they had to go back to basics. And it also tied into what they were doing with the overall Marvel universe
Right.
and what they were going to do.
Feige's all it's connected thing.
Yeah.
The other thing too is like there's a lot of things that should be showing up in some of this is like, we should see Oscorp somewhere around. We should start seeing the landmarks of certain things throughout this stuff.
Right.
Even like, I know me and Dad were talking about the fact the sad thing is that we're not going to get Tom Holland, just a CGI Spider-Man swinging through the city at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you have
other
him
than
walk
subtle
and talk and
references.
look up, and he can go through.
Right. And Val and the purchase of the Avengers Tower, that should have at least been a headline.
Mhm.
Yeah, it should be
Still
going
be.
on like in the
Could
background
still
when
be.
you see just the building being constructed. You can put
Reconstructed.
that link together at that point.
And it may be in
Exactly.
later in the episodes, we
That's
don't know.
exactly what I was just saying.
So we
Could
still
be
have how
in
many,
the-
6 episodes? Yeah, 6 episodes
We
left.
still have
Six
6
episodes
to go.
left.
We're just getting started with this.
So apparently from what I understand, mid-season, there's going to be 2 episodes again. So
Mhm.
and then I think the last, so we're going to get 2 episodes, 2 more episodes, 2 episodes together, and then
Right. And there's
another
going to
2
be a small
episode.
break, and then 2, and then 2, and then 2.
Yeah.
So do you think the next one that's 2 and 2 is going to be you know who?
I know he's in it. I know
I'm
he's
not
in
gonna
it.
say it.
He's in
Yeah.
it.
Clearly, they're building up to that, and they've already shown parts of those in the trailers. With the two of them meeting, you don't know where that is, but he says, "I don't think you're asking me for permission. I think you're asking for my approval."
Approval, yeah.
And that's probably where it cuts off. That would be my guess.
From what I heard, he's only in it for as not as much as we would want him to be.
Right.
So he may
there
only
for
be
maybe
in 2
one
episodes.
episode, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And then he's getting his own special.
Mm-hmm.
They announced that, which I'm all on board with. I will absolutely sit down and watch that 100 times.
What
So
were those called? DC had Showcase. The
it's
one,
Marvel Special Presentation
yeah, Marvel Special Presentation. Yeah,
because that's what they had for the two. One was
yeah.
Man
Well, they
Thing
had
and
Man
one
Thing
was
and Werewolf by Night and Man Thing. What was the
well,
one?
Man Thing wasn't even his own special. He was in the Werewolf by
No,
Night.
he was in. That's what I was
Werewolf by
saying.
Night, yeah.
They're together. Man, it's Man the Swamp
It was Werewolf by Night as the
and Swamp Thing. No, Man
Man
Thing.
thing.
right.
I always get them confused. But what was the first one? Was there was two of
Was
them?
that the first one?
No, I think the Wolf by Night was the first one.
Yeah, and they
Okay,
were going to do
what's
a
the
second
second one?
one, and they were talking about doing a Ghost Rider one. They were talking about doing a Nova
Yeah,
one.
yeah. And they at one point they were gonna, instead of
Oh,
doing
the
the
second one was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, the
oh,
Christmas
the
special.
Christmas special.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it was. And they were talking about using that as an inlet to create certain things set up for certain characters.
for certain characters. Yeah, because they
Right.
were gonna do the
Nova
same
was
thing with
next.
Blade.
Right. Blade might have, you know, they keep pivoting, which was it's
Yeah, they can't
fun.
make up their mind because first we were going to get a Black Knight series, then it was going to be he was going to be one of those special
Right.
presentations, and now we don't even know what's going to happen with him.
Right.
Yeah,
Same
we
thing with
don't.
Blade. Oh, we're rewriting it. We got a new guy. We got a new guy. You know what? Stop announcing it then. Same thing with James
Oh
Gunn.
yeah, I don't think you should announce any movies unless you're serious about making them.
Right. Unless you have a director and actors on board, just keep it to yourself. Let the people speculate, and then either they be right or be looking like fools when it comes announced.
But they do it for the hype because they
Yeah,
know
and
it's
I
going to
get
bring
that,
great
but
talk and
still,
people are going to be coming up with scenarios, what's going to happen in it. There's going to be all these fake leaks.
no, exactly, which is always going to happen. But now we have the age of deep fake.
Yep.
People are out there generating their own trailers of stuff that's not going to happen, that's not on the board, and people are getting lured in, and these things are getting hundreds of thousands of likes, and oh my god, this is going to happen, and it's complete garbage.
Yep. Yep.
And it is just
So, David,
yeah,
since we've dominated the conversation, I need to know what your thoughts on the first three episodes were. Do you like the direction? Was it worth your time?
My name's Jake. No. Yeah, no. I mean,
I
no.
expected him to go. I expected him to go. Nope, I didn't like it.
My
well,
I
I
didn't
sir,
didn't
I
like
like
didn't
one
like
bit.
it.
just leave it there. Just nope.
All right, everyone,
No,
that's
no.
this
I mean,
Like
episode.
Mr. Horse.
Let's
I
turn
mean,
this
look,
into a
it
Ren and
was
Stimpy
no, no,
episode.
no. I mean, it's really good, right? It's a continuation of the Daredevil stuff. So if like you like the Daredevil Netflix stuff, this is just kind of a continuation of it, right? Certain aspects of it are toned down because of the nature of the story that they're telling, but I mean the way the second episode ended, right, with that him going, don't do this and all that, it was like there's still some wild moments that are going on, and the weird kind of like half in half out aspect of the way that this story is being told. Like, I'm not super familiar, like, we've talked about this before, right? Y'all are the big Marvel nerds. I am not as much of a Marvel nerd. I know vaguely of things, but I'm not as steeped in the lore. So I'm really a lot of probably the references and things that are being made are a little over my head, but at the same time, I think it allows me to sort of absorb what they're doing in a slightly different way, and it's been enjoyable so far. I mean, uh, again, the third episode is just a giant, court case bit,
Which
but
I loved that. I actually
yeah,
did love that.
yeah, because that whole like the whole setup of the way that goes. I was enthralled. I was curious. I was like, man, where's this gonna go? How is this gonna fall out? Like, I feel like the episode honestly could have been a little bit longer, so we could have gotten
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more of like, I feel like the star witness part was rushed a little bit, right? Because it
Yeah,
was like, oh hey,
Yep.
we
I'm
found
with
him,
that.
this happened, then this other thing happened, then shenanigans come out from that. And it was like I kind of wish we had gotten a little bit more of like Matt's interaction with that guy because he just seemed like
He
a
Or
said
one and done.
peace.
I just yeah,
Yeah.
he was like a real quick like we got to get through this part and move on with our lives kind of deal. But even that, right? Like I mean, you said it right. You see that part and it kind of brings She-Hulk to mind, and just remembering how awful the court bits were from that show. Whereas compared to this, it's like, no, I'm interested, I'm engaged, I want to see where this is going, I want to see what happens. Way more, it's just way better, right? And I'm really curious to see where it's gonna go, right? Like that's the fun part about these characters and the aspect of the story that they're telling right now is the conversation that Fisk has with Matt in the first episode really sets the stage for this whole season where it's like you're waiting for them
to
to
clap.
turn heel or turn face again, right? You're
Yeah.
waiting for the mask to go back on. You're waiting for the monster to come back out, and it's like you know it's coming. So what's going to be the button, right? What's going to be the trigger that sends all that off? And that's fun, right? That's interesting. It's like, all right, I'm invested. I want to see what triggers these characters because I mean they're good characters, right? The actors are fantastic in it. They play the parts of the characters really really well. So yeah, I'm really curious to see where it goes and hoping that they don't, I'm hoping that they do more the Penguin route and I get to the end and my mind is blown and everything was worth it and not so much like some of the other Disney series where it's like even if it started off kind of strong, you get towards the end and like they kind of start dicking around and they don't know what they're doing and they fumble the landing, right? Like I don't
They can't
considering the
take it.
show and the people and the clearly the the love that they have and the fact that they went back and reshot a bunch of this, right? Like they realized where they were going and they turned the ship around. I'm hoping that we see more of that turned ship than what would have been, right? So I
All right.
am hopefully optimistic.
All right. So this begs the question: how do we feel about Brian Michael Bendis being like a consultant producer type of guy on it? Anybody catch that in the credits?
No, I
Yeah, I
didn't.
saw him on there.
There,
Toward the end of the credits on the third episode, he is listed, and
Yep.
it's like a dual
there
role.
are much like I prefer him to Joffrey Jones or Jeff Jones being writing. I liked how he revamped Green Lantern. I liked that he did Flash, but some of this
Jeff
TV stuff
Johns.
that Jeff Jones, Jeffrey, whatever, Joffrey is what I always called him.
Jeff Jeff Johns.
Um,
My name is Job.
whatever he's
John.
been tied
My
with
name
on
Jeff.
television is not the best. He writes great comic stories, but I just don't know if he's a great
His
television
the other
writer.
stuff that he's
But
worked on
Brian
hasn't.
Michael Bendis has proven himself. He's written cartoons, he's written other things, and I
Mhm.
trust him with these characters. Um, for me, I love a good criminal procedure, a good trial procedure show. All my life, I've loved Perry Mason and all the other ones that we've had, um, Law and Order. Um, and this kind of feels like it's following the Law and Order part, where there's the street crime investigation in the court. The summation in the trial in the third episode between him and the prosecutor
Oh,
was
Oh
fantastic
yeah.
because both of them nailed their
yeah,
arguments.
Yeah, you
I
didn't you
they
really
gave their
legitimately
characters
didn't
justice.
know which way that
that
jury
was
was
going
going
to
to
go
go.
Yeah.
I was like on pins and needle when they were reading the
The verdict.
friggin' verdicts.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I haven't been like this in a while because there haven't been anything really good criminally like that
Just
on
just a
television.
just a pro tip when you're watching the show, please turn off closed caption because it
Yes,
tells you
before you
what it
hear.
be
Yes,
before you hear
Hear
it.
it, yeah.
Skip
So
ahead a little bit.
turn off them captions, folks.
because I wasn't looking at my phone whenever the verdict, and then I was like, I looked at my phone, I saw the like, oh damn it! I was hoping this was they were gonna, but never mind. Okay, it worked out in my favor, I thought, but
So I have a prediction and or a hope. We've already seen Matt and Fisk fight over and over again in the comics and cartoons. We've
Yeah.
seen it on the previous Netflix. I would like to see Matt defeat him in court,
Yes.
where ends up being a big, massive court thing. Because Matt, as much as good as Matt does as Daredevil, I like him as a public defender. I like the things he does and how he tries to help people. That
Right.
is him. He's not Batman. He's not where the Bat is the main character and the other one's costume. He is Matt Murdock. He wears the other costume to save himself, protect himself.
Well, and with the way that the episode 3 ended, right? I am kind of curious if they are kind of building towards if that's not the final, battle, then if that isn't going to be some kind of clash at some point along the route, right? Because they see with Fisk's machinations there at the end and what he was
Yeah.
kind of gearing towards, it seemed like he's going to be going after Matt the attorney and not the devil.
Devil, yeah.
That's
Oh
possible.
yeah, yeah.
That's really
Especially
possible.
that bringing in what's his granddaughter.
Oh, the niece, not the granddaughter.
The niece, yeah. What is
Yeah.
what is his name? Ben Urich. Bringing her in for that
Oh wait, no,
interview,
that okay.
trying to
I'm sorry. I was
Viva-
thinking about Araya there.
trying to manipulate her. At some
Yeah.
point, she's going to figure out what's going on.
Yes, and she's going to be in danger.
Yeah, especially because she worshipped him. That was her mentor.
Yeah.
And when she finds out why he is gone, this could go. I mean, there's so many different threads being woven here.
Well,
I hope they tie
did
them all
y'all
together.
did y'all notice the thing like with Fisk in his hands?
Yeah, they're always bloodied up, and they're
Mhm.
going to
Or
explain
they're
it, 'cause that was in
like
one of the
bruised.
commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
They're-
he's boxing or doing something behind
They-
the scenes.
They showed you that in one of the commercials early on. It's a fight that he gets into while he's having a meal or something. And
Okay.
I know what
Okay.
that is.
Is
Well,
that eggs and one sprig of asparagus?
It's-
It's
Is
egg
that what
whites,
he eats all the time?
egg whites and asparagus.
I'm like, oh man, I would die.
that-
The thing is,
No
Matt
wonder he
pointed that
becomes a
out.
villain again.
Lost the fat, gained the muscle. He pointed
Yes,
that out.
yeah, I love that point.
Yeah.
When he brought that up.
well, that those farts have got to be horrible.
Oh man, all green.
Hey, I love asparagus. If that's what
No,
you're
it's-
talking about.
Oh, so you can smell your urine throughout the house is what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
smells like somebody's been eating vegetables.
You must be a farmer.
It's like, and the way he eats it is so meticulous,
Yeah,
and you see
cut
that his mind. You can see his mind working through the way he eats.
Yeah.
His gears are shifting, but I was disappointed. I really would have liked to have seen a better scar from the type of shot that he received. Now, of course, he had lots of money. He can have all the plastic surgery he wants.
But there should have been something more prominent.
Yeah, than just that little bit. I've had a worse cut than that, just
Yeah.
bumping into a door.
I mean, it gives you an idea of what happened in Echo.
Yes.
Without
Yeah.
spoiling anything, it gives you a good idea. And they reference it again, if you haven't watched it, spoiler, of in and out. But thing is, it should have been something a little more prominent. I agree with that.
When it comes out, it leaves a much bigger hole than when it goes in.
Yeah, exactly.
There should have been a lot more scarring.
And he's got a vein thing going. He's got a vanity issue. So, it's kind of like what happened in the first Batman movie. I'm sorry, Mr. Napier, you see what I have to work with. Clearly he had the money and the means to get that fixed a little bit, but there still should have been something a little more prominent. But it is a year later, so the healing could have been taking place.
Plus, he has the money. He could have
Exactly.
the best plastic surgeons to do it.
So, are you anticipating, like I am, a flashback of his recovery?
Possibly.
I'm thinking
I
that we're
thought
going to
about
see
that.
something because something made him go from being, because that would have broke him being
And
shot like that. something helped him on gradually regain his footing and then put him on that path. Oh, it could be somebody he met in prison. It could have been a doctor or a nurse, even one of the therapists who would have had to help him.
It could have
I
been
just want to see that it would be a nice little growth for him to show how he got to where he was and how he wanted to make a difference.
right, and clearly they're trying to establish the two sides with him. The
Yes.
old Kingpin that he wants to be better than, but that same guy is still here with the new guy, but he's come up
especially
with a new
with
way.
especially with the the Knuckles
Interaction with the commissioner.
Well, that and the Knuckles thing, because remember, it's two
Right.
times that he's. It's not like it's like one instance. It's like he's doing something that he keeps having his knuckles damaged by him.
Well,
We
and
keep
then they
seeing
show that
that's-
link to when Matt's washing his hands.
Yes.
I don't want to go into great detail on that, but
Right. I don't think the two are
those
connected.
subtleties.
I don't think the two are connected. I think it's they're both following the different path back to.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, not the
But
not the same path. But like
because we
it
know
could-
what happens. We know what happens to Matt.
Right.
But it was to show that, because remember when Kingpin's Fisk is talking to him in the diner, that there's a really point he makes of once you release that beast, it's really hard to put him back.
Yeah.
And that was showing, I think, that both of them are at that struggling point.
Yeah.
And it's really up to them how strong-willed, how much damage they can take before they collapse into that. Now, personally, for Matt, it's not him releasing the beast. It's reinventing himself as that, accepting that, but changing who he is. That's the whole part of Reborn. So...
Well, there's that storyline arc right now, too, with Vanessa and that person she's sleeping with.
Yes.
That she's told him twice not to hurt. So
right.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
I think it's connected because, like I said, in the early trailers, there was a scene where they were eating somewhere and it looked like an underground tunnel. If you go back and look for it, you can find it. And then something happens while that meal is happening, and it becomes a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's connected to that, and I think it's building. I think it's already happened, and they're building back up to it, and possibly connected to the Vanessa thing.
So
he's already made it clear he doesn't want things to go the way they're going, and he's going to be willing to do whatever he has to get back on track with it.
Yeah. Well, there's that new guy too. The other,
the British guy who.
Well, there's
the guy in the suit with that.
No, so there's that kid that goes up to his girlfriend and he's like, I need your help with something, and then like we've been seeing people drawing stuff on the graffiti and things.
Yeah, so. The thing is, I'll bet that guy is they've already announced who the villain's going to be.
Yeah, I just can't remember his name at the moment.
Graffiti guy. It's
no, let's not go any further.
Right, but they've already announced. They've already shown that character is going to be there. I think the two of those are connected.
Yeah.
The thing is, they introduced two people back to her, and that's kind of like a misdirection thing, which was well played because the second one showed up immediately that he was representing somebody else, and that played out immediately. The other
when he goes, I represent the boss.
Yeah.
Says the
man.
The man.
That's what he said. I don't work for blank. I work for the man.
The man. So that means there's somebody else.
No, not necessarily, because
no. He was talking about blank.
Yeah, she's talking about somebody, but
because that if you look back at that conversation, he's making it clear that he's not working for an office. He's working for a guy.
He's working for a guild.
Yeah.
A lollipop guild.
Oh my gosh. Somebody woke up him, put him back to sleep.
Technically it's mentioned in that episode of who he's working for.
Exactly. And we're trying to avoid spoilers here,
but
but
Well,
he's made it clear where his loyalties lie.
yeah. Even though he's working in the office, it's
Right. The
something
kid
different.
is connected to
I think the main, yeah.
X, the second half villain.
hmm Um,
I just don't remember the character's name, but I'm going to use X because if people are trying to avoid trailers like Vince did, then that's where it needs to be.
yeah.
That
Because I
kid,
mean,
that kid is going to be a major thing in the second half.
mhm.
That's my prediction on
Would you say that X is going to give it to him?
that. Hey,
Jump up. He's here all week. Try the veal.
hey.
Well,
I know exactly what David's.
yeah.
I'm picking up what he's laying down. So
Well, we will definitely be doing a spoiler talk at some point.
I say
once
we
all
wait
this-
until the end.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Wait.
Vince had said. We would do one for each episode, and then at the end do an overall
Yeah,
story arc.
overall arc and our
Well,
thoughts about it.
Since we just covered 3 without spoilers, I say we
We can wait to the next 3 episodes, or if we're going to continue to do the podcast on a regular basis, like I'd like to, just depending on everything going on.
I say wait until the end and then we go spoilerific.
Yeah, we can do. We
And we
can
just
wait.
put it in the notes.
Because we'll be able to cover episode 4 next week.
Right.
And record on Wednesday again. And keep it vague. But yeah, no. Definitely some things too. Just for quick. They're taking a lot of different storylines from the comic
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, not
because
all of them from Born
Born
Again.
Again, yeah. Because I was looking at that because like I can get the graphic novel for like I think $20 or
Right.
$28 or something. I was going to pick it up, but it's like it doesn't even cover most of the stuff that's going on. Like so,
Somebody pointed out that I'll send you the link, but somebody pointed out that the address of their law firm is the same number as an issue that pertains directly to Foggy and a storyline that a lot of people forgot. I'll share the link and we can discuss it privately. But I read this article that this person speculated on, and it made a lot of sense. So, I mean, it kind of explains a couple things that happened in the first episode. But I'll find that and I'll reshare it because I was looking at this article going, oh, that's impressive, especially what they're already announcing for season 2. So,
Yeah, I
and
really wish they wouldn't do that. I wish they'd get us.
I know. They're already saying that these people are involved and stuff like that, and I really wish they didn't. But they have to keep the hype going because they've
I
already.
know, I know.
Got to build
But
that
you know what?
hype machine.
If it's good, it'll have its own hype. You don't
That's
have to
right.
lie or pump up people.
That's exactly
Do
true.
a good product. If they love it, they're going to be there. I mean, we didn't have all that hype when it was Lost. All these shows that went on and became great. The show is what sold it.
sold it.
And
Yeah.
then the
Right,
people
it sold
talking
itself.
about it at the water
Water
fountain
cooler talk. Yeah.
break
Yeah.
room. Yeah, go back to basics sometimes.
Right.
Mm.
Skip the internet. Go back 20 years.
Yeah. So another thing I want to talk about before we go is new movies. Anything we've watched? Anything that you want to suggest to people?
I still haven't watched Captain America: Brave New World, but I want to, and I
I'm
know
behind on that.
you've seen it.
I went and saw it, but I won't talk about it because you guys haven't seen it yet.
I
I know
love it.
enough about it to.
I'm not going to talk about it, but I loved it though.
I loved it though.
No, I mean,
I'm looking
like
forward to
everything, there's great things in it, and then there's problems. But
Exactly.
overall, I would say go see it.
Right.
Well, Craven I thought was good. So
Craven was fantastic.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's coming out next week.
It's
wait,
out now for
13th.
free.
The 13th is what was supposed to be the official release date.
No, I've already seen it.
Really?
It's on one of the. He purchased it, but then what was it like a week after you purchased
yeah, I
it?
purchased
It
it.
was on either Paramount or it's
All
on
right,
one of
somebody
the
figure out
places.
where it
I'll
was and
find
see.
out and I'll text you.
All right, because if it's available, I definitely want to watch it. I've been watching Invincible season 3.
Yeah, man, that last friggin' episode.
I like season 1. Season 2 was boring. Season 3 brought me back. And then, oddly enough, there was two movies in the DC 52 animated stuff, that last run of movies, that I never watched because I thought they were something else. And that was the Death and Return of Superman. I thought that was the
Oh
old stuff
wow.
that's lumped in there. So I've been catching clips of that, and I'm like,
Mm.
wait a minute, I never watched these. I don't know what this is. So I've been watching clips. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
because
okay,
there's life and death, and then there's rain.
yeah, there's the Death of Superman, and then there's Reign of the Superman.
Yeah.
And it was done into two parts, and I had no clue.
Um,
I thought I'd watched them all, and I'm like catching little clips on YouTube, and I'm like, I don't know that. So now I'm invested in that.
Um, have you seen Venom, the
No,
third
I have
movie?
not, but I know it's available.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, I believe, or no, Disney right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I
oh,
did.
look,
Really good send off for Eddie Brock's character. I really enjoyed
I
it.
I know enough about it to know that I want to watch it. So I honestly I don't think I've watched any of them. I'm trying to remember. It's been quite busy. If not, then I'll just go through all the
all
movies,
three of them at the same time.
because I know enough about the first and the third one. Is okay, yeah. The only thing I know about the second one is, Cassidy. That's it. And I'm like, okay, it's Woody Harrelson. I'll check it out. So,
Um,
but that as far as movies go, that's it.
I'm on my second to the last episode, finally finishing up Bleach, the Thousand Year War.
Oh, I,
Man, breaking my heart, man. When you're gonna go out big, and they're just taking out all these heroes that you've watched over the years, watching them, go out in a blaze of glory. I was like, I was not expecting. I knew it from the manga, but I never read all of them. Um, this was just kind of rough because it's one thing to read it, and you put your own voice, but when I started reading it, I had already been watching the cartoon, so in my head it's the characters from the cartoon's voices on the show, and just like watching it is coming back to it after a while, and then watching this whole new season, it's like coming home. You get that feeling closeness to them again, and then to watch them going doing what they're doing is just kind of rough. But that's what a good show does. Makes you feel an emotion, you
Hmm.
know.
it draws you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. David?
Well, I haven't been watching any shows. I felt bad about that. This is the first show that I've actually watched consecutive episodes of in a while. I've been mostly focused on movies. Uh, I watched The Substance, which was hilarious,
Yeah,
and
with
all the buzz and hype about that movie was 100% worth it. And I was not ready for the ending of that movie. That
I was
the
gonna
end
say, what do you
Uh,
think of the ending?
the end of
yeah.
that movie gets it got to a point where I was like, what the fuck is going on
Yeah.
in this movie? Holy crap, there's no way they're going here with it. And it just kept going and going. And then she vomits a boob, and I was like, it just keeps going, and I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. And then Demi Moore getting absolutely drop kicked into a giant picture of herself, I think is peak cinema. But yeah, Substance was fantastic. We watched Flow. Basically, I've been watching all like the Oscar movies, right? We watched Flow, which was that animated cat
Yeah,
movie that was done like all in Blender, I think, which is kind of wild.
it
Hmm.
kind of
Uh,
has a Miyazaki feel a little bit to it.
Yeah, it
That's what
does.
I
yeah.
kind of was drawn to it for.
I mean, it was funny because when we were first firing it up, one of the kids was asking, they're like, I wonder if there's any dialogue in this. I'm like, there's gonna be, it's animals. There's gonna be zero dialogue in this, and that's perfectly fine. And then about halfway through the movie, I think it was whenever the lemur showed up, we just started doing our own little voices of him. So like I named the lemur Craig, and so we started voicing like the cat and the capybara, right? And it was like, Craig, come on, get on the boat, Craig. Leave your stuff behind. He's like, wait. I just got to get this thing. I just got to get this one last thing. Look, it's my favorite thing. I just need to get my favorite thing in the basket. He's like, look, Craig, I'm gonna put this last thing in the basket. Then we're putting the basket on the boat, and then you're getting in the damn boat, Craig. Get in the. He's like, no, but I just need to get my favorite thing. He's like, I thought you put your favorite thing in the basket. Yeah, but I mean, but
You
this is
got
my favorite thing, right? And just like we were just doing voices for the whole thing. Like it just if you just watch the movie by itself, the movie is really great, right? All the animals are super expressive, and that was why we were able to like give voices to it because like the emotions are conveyed from the animals. The story that it's telling is really cool. I have no idea what the hell happened to the bird, but that's beside the point. And overall, though, it was really really good little kids movie that is it's different, right? I mean, again, it's a completely dialogueless just journey, and I have missed movies like that of just telling a journey and just showing this thing, right? And being able to see something communicate like all these emotions and do all these things with so little was so cool to see. Um, so
Milo and
that was really great,
Otis. No, I'm joking.
right? Uh, and then the other movie, and then the movie that we chased right behind that, which is a very different movie, was Heretic, with Hugh
which
Grant.
I still
So
haven't seen yet.
it was really good. It was really good. I was definitely very curious where they were going to go with it, and I think I kind of figured it out towards the end. I was like, oh, okay, I think I know what's happening. I think I know what's going on, and it got to the end, and I was a little bit off, but I was still in the ballpark of it. So I was like, oh, okay. And then it wraps up and it was but overall it was a pretty good little what are they called? Like horror holy horror movies, right? We've been getting a couple more of those. I guess I watched it and we haven't recorded since I watched it, but I also watched Immaculate, which was pretty good for being nunsploitation horror. That was actually a really enjoyable movie. Sydney Sweeney, man, like for all the crap that you know thrown her way about stuff, I've actually been enjoying the movies that I've watched her in when she does horror, especially because from what I understand, Immaculate was like a movie that they were going to make and then it got canned, and then after she made whatever that stupid rom-com was, she got a big paycheck from that. She took some of the money that she got from that, turned it around and funded Immaculate through that and was able to put that out. I'm like, that's awesome, man. I love when these people dive into horror like this, right? Like Samara Weaving is just like a scream queen basically because she just does all these cool horror movies. And so these actresses going out and making like just off the beaten path type horror is really exciting and really cool to see. So Immaculate was good, Heretic was good, The
Something.
Substance was balls to the walls nuts, and Flow was really solid kids movie. So
Um,
Well, I'll let Dad finish. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, getting back to a less horrific movie. I haven't been happy with some of the horror movies I've watched lately. They're too formula maic or whatever you want to call it. The Wild Robot,
Yeah.
excellent movie. I went in. I was going, okay, this is gonna be a nice little kids movie. Man, it was good. I mean, I I actually was not expecting certain things that you got in there. I mean, they kind of lead you in one way and it goes another. I loved. I don't want to give anything away with it. That's what I'm afraid of. Just see it. It's really fantastic. It's a
yeah,
good family film, and it reminds me of what Pixar used to do. Some of the what really worked in the back in the day.
literally the entire family has watched it except for me because the night they decided to watch it, I was just dead to the world and I ended up passing out like before even the opening credits. And so it's staring at me on the shelf just across the room. So it's on my list of to do somewhere in there, but I've heard nothing but great things, so I'm excited for it.
So only thing I'm gonna add would have been like for one, Love Hurts was really good with Hugh Kwan what is it? Hugh
He
Hong
would
Kwang? Yeah. He plays
So
a
other one.
he plays a realtor that is actually an ex-hitman, and then it just
he worked for his brother, right?
yeah, worked for his brother. It's got some great comedy and action in it. It's definitely worth watching. Takes place during Valentine's Day. And then I finally got my 4K copy of Macross Do You Remember Love. Finally got to sit down and watch that, and it was amazing the way they touched it up. Because like that movie was dated back then, in '82. So it was really nice, and especially it didn't have the original Hong Kong dub, so it was just subtitle, which is great. I was fine with that. But it was great to be able to relive an anime that I love as a kid. So
I do need to sit down and watch the now that Macross is available, right? And after hearing
yes, it
y'all
is.
talk about all this stuff, I need to sit down and try and watch it. Although, the new
Watch it in
Gundam is coming
chunks.
out. Say what?
Watch it in chunks. Don't try
Watch
and
it in chunks.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't it breaks itself down into various storylines and stuff like that. If you try and binge the whole thing, it'll
there's
blend with
a
each other.
yeah, there's a
So
Well,
the
and
lot.
original
I
percent of
I
it
think
was
the
And
chunks.
I'm
it's
curious.
not. There's not a linear story. It's not
Right.
kind of linear
Well,
story.
see that's what I was about to say was I went and I looked up like a watch order, and from what I understand, the watch order I'm technically going to be watching a lot of the newer stuff first, which I don't know that I want like because I think what Macross Zero,
Macross Zero is
I
before.
started watching one and it was a pilot crash lands and then it's like on a
Yeah, it's
tropical
Zero.
island for some odd
Islands.
reason.
Yeah.
It's Zero.
Um, so yeah, like I started up that one. I haven't gotten very far in it because then yeah, it's what happens. I'll get like a couple episodes into a thing and then off my mind goes to other things. But yeah,
Um,
I need to sit down and watch that because the new Gundam's coming out soon and I'm curious to see how that's going to go with them deciding to rewrite the history of the whole universal
yep, where
colony.
Char gets the
He
seven.
wins, man. The
Yeah.
friggin' Xeon wins. Is like, okay, uh, that's interesting. I guess we'll see where that goes. But
Um,
Well, have y'all heard that they're doing a another new Naruto series?
A third
no,
one?
A
I
still,
haven't
third
heard
one?
it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Burn it with fire. I'm tired of
No,
it.
no,
Like
I
it's
understand.
over.
I thought
Quit.
it was over.
It is. It
Naruto
died a
should have
long
been
time ago. Right after Gara beat Rock Lee in the Chunin exams, it was over. It was fine. It's good. Although, so you talking about comedy did remind me there was one more movie. I need to finish it because again, some nights I try to fire up movies and it's just not going to happen no matter how much I like what I'm watching. Uh, there's I don't know where they made it, but someone decided to make a very slapsticky silent film called Hundreds of Beavers. It is
Oh, I
Oh,
heard about that.
yeah.
it is
It's
I
so
on
heard
fun.
about
it's on
that.
It's on
Amazon
Prime.
right
It's
now.
on Amazon right now. It is so funny. Oh my goodness. Like I was dying and then I ended up falling asleep, but that's it's not that wasn't the movie's fault. That was just my physical I couldn't make
Somebody
it
put
on
that in the chat because I saw a thing for
Okay.
that. Like,
yes,
okay,
Hundreds of Beavers, man.
that look
I
that
Uh,
was
look
not expecting much from that movie and within the first like 15 minutes, I was the only one in the house watching it because I the first silent movie I subjected everyone in the house to was oh my gosh, the German expressionist one with the Metropolis.
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 Yeah,
Metropolis. Yeah.
I showed the Metropolis and everyone was just looking at me like, Dad, why are we watching this movie? I was like, there's a lot of film history in
Yep.
this. I I know it's weird and
It's great.
there's like y'all can just go.
It was
It's
break.
fine.
It was pioneering. Come
And
on, you know.
so I
I'm
broke
like
my family
waiting.
on silent films by showing them Metropolis first instead of Hundreds of Beavers. If I had
Yeah.
started with Hundreds of Beavers and then like led them into like the Universal stuff, then we could have gotten around to German expressionism. But unfortunately, I flew too close to the sun right out the gate.
Yeah.
Okay, Icarus. Way to go, Icarus.
Subservience
I'm
is
hoping
was
for
decent.
Nosferatu. I don't know when it's coming out. I didn't get
Oh,
to
it
see it
is
in
out.
theaters.
It's
It's
out.
uh,
It's
It
out.
is out.
It's out.
it's on something. I
That's
saw.
right.
I can purchase it if I wanted.
Oh no, I didn't. I was hoping it would be on one of the streaming services.
It's somewhere where it can be watched easily.
Yeah.
I
It,
don't remember where at the moment.
yeah,
So,
Nosferatu was really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Subservience wasn't bad for what was that movie with Nicole Kidman where she's a robot back in the day?
Stepford Wives?
Yeah, it's kind of like that,
The
but
robot in that.
yeah,
I've never seen it.
Yeah, in the remake of Stepford Wives, they made them into robots instead of
yeah,
programming the
yeah,
women.
programming human. But in Subservience, the guy has a wife that's dealing with a heart condition that's in and out of the hospital. She ends up staying in the hospital for a period of time. The father is taking care of a newborn or like a 1 year old and a 7 year old child. Ends up purchasing a robot that is Megan Fox.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
really good. I mean, it
About,
was a
yeah.
decent movie. It's messed up, but it's really good. But it kind of like has that iRobot kind of feel towards the end of it.
Is it Ravine? Is that the one that's on Apple? Um,
We'll have to look that up.
it's really good. I don't want to give too much away. I like both the young actor who's playing the hero lead is the one who played Reed Richards from that horrible Josh Trank
The second
Oh,
Fantastic
series of
Four.
Miles Teller.
Yeah, and he was also what's the movie where he's the drummer and
Oh, Almost Famous.
almost no is it no 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 he's in a repertoire. He's at a school and he gets you have to this guy who leads the class, you have to make it through this just tenacious entrance thing, and when he gets in he abuses his people, but when he's done with you you're just this superior person.
Is that the one with jacked J. Jonah Jameson? Is that the one you're talking
Yeah,
about?
he's the main
Where he's
guy,
just like,
the
oh my
teacher.
goodness.
Yeah,
yeah.
that he's in that. He plays the drummer that in.
Man, that movie made me believe that J. Jonah Jameson could whip Peter's ass and that
Oh
like
yeah, well look
Yeah,
at
let him
him.
yeah,
throw
yeah.
down.
Have you ever seen him lifting weights with his just
Yes.
man? That dude is
You
jacked.
mean you mean
Dude,
he could
that
be
was.
Master Roshi if they ever did a live
I
action
think he'd
Dragon
make a
Ball again?
great Master Roshi.
Yeah, he could be
So
regular and then ripped.
and then the girl who plays the Russian, who's the his counterpart on the other side of the rift or
Whiplash.
ravine, she
Whiplash is the movie.
What?
Whiplash is the
Whiplash.
drummer
Oh,
movie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, is the girl who played the sister in the Dune Part Two.
oh,
And I
wow.
can't,
I didn't watch the second one, so I don't know.
We're getting bad at this.
Anna Taylor Joy. Are you talking about Anna
Yes.
Taylor Joy?
yeah, I believe so.
The
And
the
it
the
is
girl
kick
who
butt,
has the giant bug eyes?
big eyes. Yeah,
Yeah. Anna Taylor
the
Joy.
this thing is so freaking good, and it is not. It leads you by the nose around, and you think you know what the hell is going on all the way through it until one part, and then the whole story changes on you. And I was like, man, that is good. And the sad part was I didn't get to see the end of it because I was tired and I was falling asleep during it. So I turned it off. And then I couldn't afford to pay my Apple account because I was doing it by the month, and I shut it off. And I'm like, damn it. Now I'm going to have to pay for Apple TV just so I can watch the last 30 minutes of this freaking movie, you know? And
You could have
because it's
just asked for
exclusive.
my stuff. Wait.
It's an Apple exclusive. It's an Apple exclusive. You don't have Apple, do you?
Yeah,
Apple has
dude.
been killing it. Like
Oh, well, good. You can nothing. We'll talk about that offline.
the wife has been like the two things that she's been watching more than anything. Well, I take that back. There's been three things. Two of them are very annoying, and one of them is fine. She basically binged every sci-fi show that Apple has put out, and I had to explain to her the Foundation because she started watching it, and she started telling me about it. I was like, "Yeah, I know about the Foundation. It sounds like that show's deviated quite a bit and telling a slightly different
Yeah.
story, but that's fine." And then outside of that, she's been listening to a lot of like financial stuff, like what's his face? The oh my God.
Ramsey.
Yes.
Tell
Dave
me,
Ramsey.
She's been
Dave
listening to just obscene amounts of Dave Ramsey, and I'm tired of hearing about it. And then if it's not Dave Ramsey, then it's like every day I get one of two things. I'm either hearing Mandarin Chinese because she's watching like Chinese dramas, right? So I'm just listening to Chinese constantly. Or she comes in, she's like, David, you will never believe how much debt these people got into. Is like, no, I'll believe it.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Like,
Yeah,
trust
because
me,
yeah,
there's some
We
Dave,
have
people out there
friends
that
that got in trouble now.
Dave
they
Ramsey is one thing. If she was watching Larry Kudlow, I'd say we need to have an exorcism, and we have to bring in professionals. Um, but God, Grandma and Grandpa, Dave Ramsey, all the time. that was their go-to person.
Yep. Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
still
like
going
you
strong.
listen to the advice, and it's like it's sad because the advice is like super basic, but it's sad that people have to be told. It's like, yeah, this is how you do this, and it's just like we're just so programmed against so many little things about how to behave and how to treat money, right? And like I'm guilty of it, right? It's just one of those things that's like, if anything, listening to it just kind of makes me depressed. Is like, you know what? There's
Don't take financial
I
advice from people who have tons
I
of
don't
Yeah,
want.
tons of
millions in
money.
video games and
Right,
Well,
right,
okay,
exactly. Yeah.
board
but
games.
see, if I sat down and think about it, right? It's like I don't want to add up what is behind me
No,
because that's depressing.
I
It's
don't want to
like,
add up.
I mean, it's fun, right? It's like, and that's the thing, right? It's like games, all that stuff. So you get this continual being able to utilize it with the family and yada 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 and all that stuff. But it's like, but then you stop, and whenever you're thinking about certain types of bills, you're like, that's about what that bill is. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, shit.
Oh well.
oh, it's
But
like me. I walk around here and I'm like, I need to get a room. I got to put this place up. I got to get it in order. I want to make everything look nice, neat. I'm tired of looking at boxes here, boxes there, and then I'm like, oh the hell with it. I'm gonna die and let somebody else deal with it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, you're my nephew, your nephew, your sister.
All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We us talking about all kinds of stuff, our thoughts on Daredevil. We hope to catch you next episode. Till then, everyone have a great one. Peace out.